Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everyone, and welcome everyone to the Asian Oceania Trackmania Championship final day now in the spring season. So yesterday we had our, let's just say, first few matchups that we decided and saw who will be the top 12 players who will move on to day 2, and today it's time for day 2. It's time to see who will be the player who will be coming out as the champion. In the very first season we did had Australian Simply Nick. In the second edition it was Fiddy, also from Australia. Third edition it was Wingy Face from Australia. Fourth edition was Min. And since we don't have none of them for playing in this time around, it's time to see who will be the new champion in this season.
Yeah, this time around there's a lot of new players. A lot of the older players unfortunately can't make it. There are a few players that are missing from the previous iterations of AOTC, and this time around we have quite a bit of a storyline building up. So far, if we take a look at the brackets, we have a few players currently now in the upper bracket finals. We have actually all 3 of the Turkish players. We have Birdie, Huso, and Chemko all in the upper bracket finals alongside the Indian Kunal 1398. All 4 of them are currently in the upper bracket finals, and we will witness their match later on. But first we have the lower bracket quarters. This is all top 12 players right now. On the first server we have Kuda Jinkrak, Gaming Boy, Nami, and Sky. As for the other lower bracket, we have Seb, Spider, Planetary Goose, and Svide.
Yeah, everyone's a bit messing around. How do you really spell his name properly? It's like SVDE. So what's the way how you spell it properly? So it's Swede. Like, what's the real name? But yeah,
it's Svid.
Okay, we have another version then, I guess. But yeah, at the
it's
moment,
confirmed by him. It's confirmed by him in the chat. Yeah.
So either way, there's gonna be 2 lower bracket matches will be played out at this very moment, while we're gonna be focusing on the upper bracket match. That's gonna be between Birdie, Semko, and Huso from Turkey and Kunal from India. The lower bracket matches that you just listed, one match has 3 Indonesia players, so they'll be saying goodbyes to one of the Indonesia players. Actually, Sky had this very sick comeback yesterday that pushed himself into day 2. However, you know, it was a bit iffy. However, I feel like that lower bracket match will gonna be a very interesting match to behold, as both Kuda Jinkrak, who has been wasn't the best player from Asia scene in terms of results domestically. However, in some terms of like COTD placements, he has always been up there, and I believe he's currently the highest rated also in terms of campaign rankings. So there is a bit of pressure to him put like that, especially since he hasn't had that good AOTC results so far. But his people in the match is Gaming Boy, a player from Indonesia who has had decent results in AOTCs, always has been top 4, always, except one edition where he was 6th, top 6. That's so it's not fully always. And Nami, a player from India who is actually considered as currently the best player in India. Despite Kunal being currently in the winners, it's definitely gonna make on who is, you know, the better player coming out after this event. It's gonna be, I would say, it's kind of a bit of a toss-up. It's kind of hard to say who's looking as the favorite. At the moment, I would say some of the Turkish players definitely are looking as the bit favorites, especially Birdie and Semko. We haven't really seen Semko on stream so far. However, Semko is definitely looking as one of the better players. Also in terms of seeding, has been definitely up there as one of the potential favorites in the end. However, Kunal as well can be a potential, you know, bit of an underdog. He was the player who was always kind of like the second, like wasn't really first, but was always second. But it might be enough, you know, for him to pop that win at the very end as well.
Well, I would say that we have a pretty interesting storyline build up for several players here. Like you say, Kunal, I wouldn't say that he had the highest of expectations coming into this tournament. I would say Nami definitely had a bit more eyes on him. But surprisingly now, Nami is the one in the lower bracket, whereas Kunal is in the upper bracket finals. That doesn't mean that you can count Nami out, of course. Still a pretty strong player. But he does have to beat Kuda, Gaming Boy, and Sky in order to maintain and continue on in the tournament. And I'd say, at least in that lower bracket, Kuda definitely doesn't have the best of results in terms of tournament-wise, but this might be his breakout tournament. And as for Gaming Boy, he might be looking to maintain his fourth, if not better, position. And as for Sky, we saw what he did yesterday. He has the potential. He just needs to be a bit more consistent, just a bit more pace, and he could still continue. As for the lower bracket two, we have Seb, a player from Taiwan, and roughly overall a pretty strong player. We have Spider as well. So both these players are looking to definitely continue on, but at the same time we have Svid and Planetary Goose, which we saw both of them play recently, like yesterday, and both players seem to have the potential to possibly end up in top 8 as well.
Yeah, it's actually that one of the other lower semi-final. One is filled with players from Indonesia and India. The other one is the last chance for OC now, as there's not a single Australian player that qualified or reached day 2, which was the first. There was always an Australian player in the top 4, and 3 times out of 4 there was a winner from Australia. The fact that none of them made it to day 2 definitely shows something is definitely changing there. But bit of a shame, to be honest, in that sense. But now New Zealand is now taking the upper ridge as the main region from Oceania, if you don't count Mudda, in this domestic event. So we'll see. However, maybe Planetary Goose also can pop up, because Planetary Goose was doing really good in one of the early round seeding. But of course that was yesterday, and that was a bit different format, as the format today is gonna be the same as we saw yesterday. It's gonna be cup mode till 100 points. So the winners bracket final will be played out accordingly. That the top 2 players will be moving on to the grand finals. Bottom 2 will be sent to the lower finals. While at the same time there will be the lower bracket being played out, and after this match we'll be witnessing the lower bracket semi-final, where both winners of both of the lower matches will be, and then we'll have the lowers finals, and then we have the grand finals. So those are 4 matches that we'll be witnessing today. I believe this will be the only first match that will there be some kind of overlap with multiple matches happening at the same time, but every single match afterwards will be the same. So there would be all matches at the end will be fully broadcasted in the end. Also, we have a broadcast in Indonesian language as well that's done by Resir on his end, together with Blyathan, and also a French broadcast that's done by Gigi on his channel, Twitch channel as well. And it seems like that all of the players are so far ready, so we're going to transition within the game view. It seems like everyone's looking ready, so we're going to start the matches very soon. Bit of a mess up from my end. A bit of a stretched incident. But stuff happens. We good. Good old misclick, here and there.
Wide Kuno.
It does tend to happen, sometimes, but as we know, we're going to be still soon starting the warm-up of the... currently we're in the warm-up with the upper bracket final between Semco, Kunal, Birdie, and Huso. So those are the main people who we should look out for from this match. So the top 2 players from this exact match will be moving up to the winners grand finals, while the bottom 2 players will be sent to the lowers finals. So who are your predictions on who might be the 2 players making it? We were still in the last seconds of the warm-up.
I mean, by this lobby is pretty stacked, but I would like to see Kunal and Semco moving on into the grand finals as the upper bracket position. Yeah. I think those 2 are the ones to look out for, and both players are really good.
I don't know what's happening on my end, but the window really likes to live with a mind of its own. As we're gonna be starting our first round now, Kunal with the slower start comparing to all 3 Turkish players. Huso actually now the one with the small lead so far, following by Semco, and Birdie is in close third. Semco is really close so far from this distance. Kunal is quite a bit behind, not definitely the best of starts so far. Huso actually leads the field between the 2, between Semco and Birdie. Huso actually being a bit of an underdog player between the 3 Turkish players, having him a solid start. Definitely a very good start for his side. Semco now gets an overtake as Huso did touch the inside line, and now it tries to... Semco secures the first one with a 45-8. So definitely a strong time to opening, and Huso also with a 46-8 despite having a mistake in the middle of the part of the map.
Yep, I'm having a bit of connectivity issues on my end, so Asake, can you please just take on the few next rounds?
Yeah, no problem. As we're
Alright,
gonna
thanks.
coming on,
Yeah.
Semco definitely had the opening, better opening than Birdie in second and Huso in third. So Turkish players definitely are looking as a bit of a favorites from this match so far. It seems like another early mistake from Kunal's side. Definitely starting to probably not being able to keep up with the pressure from everyone else. Semco with the solid lead, Kunal quite a bit far behind so far. Huso currently is in second place, but still Semco has a solid lead so far. All three Turkish players are relatively close comparing to the India player in this upper bracket finals currently. Semco still leads the field. Birdie and Huso in a very close fight for that second place. But it does seem like that Semco will be taking this plus 10 pointer with no silly mistakes, as all players are doing 45s, as with Huso doing a 46 low. Pretty solid rounds, also pace-wise, as all of them basically did 0.5 from world record in this round. So we wait while Sewell has a bit of a connection issues while he gets reconnected and gets back with us. Seems like the Turkish players definitely starting to put themselves as a bit of a favorite. If you know, spectate from Kunal's perspective, he always loses the time quite a bit in like most of the parts. And he really has a hard time of keeping up with the Turkish guys. However, this time Birdie with a bit slower start comparing to his compatriots, Huso and Semco now leaving the lead. Kunal following in fourth position, Birdie in a solid third, while there's a pretty nice fight for those top positions, plus 10 and plus 7 points from the top field. So currently Semco does lead the field, following by Huso. Birdie in third, or Birdie has way more access speeds, closes in on that second place, but does Semco gets the plus 10 pointer Indian, Huso in second and Birdie in third and Kunal in fourth. Definitely starting to a gap starting to develop between the upper bracket players, as Kunal starting to drop his lead, drop his points range between the top three and him in the last place so far.
Yeah, and looking on the leaderboard, currently on the top is Birdie, Chemko, Kunal, and Huso. All four of them are in top four positions. Birdie having the fastest time, Chenko right behind him, and Kunal as well. I would say that all players definitely have the potential to bring out this round, but Kunal so far not being the fastest in terms of pace. And like you said, Chemko definitely pulling out strong, having 30 points just 3 rounds in. But currently not Kunal all the way in the lead, as I say that. Probably driving really well, maybe getting into the groove a bit more. Huso on third. We get to see a pretty good fight between first and second between Chemko and Kunal. So on to the loop now is just Chemko trying to overtake Kunal. He has a bit more speed. The drift is good and the snipe will not go through, but that is Kunal finally having a 10 points and nabbing a few points away from Chemko. Really great round from all the players there.
Actually, Kunal starting to only maybe getting in the groove of the match, because first 3 rounds definitely lacked his consistency, made him drop some of those points, especially in the early parts of the match. So I feel like if he now finally gets in the groove of the match, maybe that will be allow him to, you know, put himself into his real potential, as the first early rounds were really shaky from him. He probably saw, okay, this is the time where you kind of have to up your pace a bit. And him trying to just play safe and waiting for mistakes was definitely not it. So basically all of the top 3 players in the early rounds did not have any major mistakes as we're going on Chicken Steak by Ninja Ray.
Yep, a bit of stats about this map. Currently on the leaderboard right now, Birdie and Chemko are both 0.1 ahead of basically both the other players, Kunal and Huso. So yeah, Chemko and Birdie are looking to definitely dominate in terms of pace in this match, because Birdie is currently number 3 on the leaderboard, Semco is on 6th, and Kunal is 14, whereas Huso is all the way down on 21. So a pretty big gap between the players here. But in the end, it's all down to how well you can execute the ice slide and how much speed you can maintain throughout the entire track.
Yeah, it's definitely a map that's the snowball effect is very the main thing that's kind of needed, actually, because you can't afford to cancel out and lose your momentum, because it's very important coming from the very start till the very end. So comparing to other maps, like every single section here is going to be very important, and it's kind of not that difficult to do. So it's going to be very important how well you risk it as well to have those, you know, couple of tenths being saved at the very end. As currently all 3 Turkish players are at the top, with Kunal a bit of a slower start. Birdie and Semco are currently leading in a 1-2, followed by Huso in third place. It does seem like that both Birdie and Semco are in a solid 1-2, Huso with not the best of exit speeds, trying to follow along, Kunal is a bit of a back in fourth place. So it's definitely starting to have a bit of a noticeable split between the playing field, with the Turkish players definitely showing a bit of a different level than Kunal in this match. Also with the adjusted half slide, actually allows Semco to overtake Birdie, with his half slide was a bit better, and he will be finishing with a 46.5. Susos, let's seem like to have a bit of a mistake, almost even got overtaken by Kunal at the end, but it's again Turkish players taking the 1-2-3 in this match.
Yep, the Turkish player seems to be really good on the ice slide, really good at maintaining and having a really consistent setup, especially going into the ice slide, managing to keep a lot of speed through. But into the next round we go, Kunal not having the best of start, just slightly behind the rest of the Turkish player. But in the end, it's all down to this one bobsleigh, because this bobsleigh will determine the speed throughout the rest of the track. And currently Birdie all the way in the lead with Semco right behind him, but Kunal having quite an amount of speed in the inside line onto the drop down. And all the players seem to be still pretty close together, but that is one of the players flying off to the side, which is Huso, unfortunately hitting the side, clipping it and not being able to maintain a lot of speed, and now it's on to the ice slide part. Birdie still keeping a pretty good lead, Semco right behind him, Kunal in third, and this should be another 1-2 for both the Turkish players, Birdie and Semco.
Yeah, that mistake at least from Kunal gave that, opportunity to have a third place as minimum, as his pace is really lacking comparing to the Turkish players, so it's really hard for him to even squeeze in that top 3 rounds. So there's a very noticeable skill gap like starting to develop, as currently Birdie and Semco are both at the 1 and 2 positions so far. But yeah, Kunal definitely needs to step up his game. The match isn't over unless you actually finish off in the finalist. So maybe some of these maps are just not the most favorable for him. And I feel like it's kind of... most of these players haven't also been that used to or haven't that accustomed to on playing in such an environment where you really have to force for pace. Because most of the people within the scene are very, let's just say, not so fast and way more consistency based. Just having this like other opponents coming in who are really starting to push for the pace and do it consistently also can allow, a bit of learning, have this new vision on how to play the game to allow yourself to push further as well. As Birdie and Semco take another 1 and 2, Kunal in third, and again Huso with a bit of a mistake at the bottom of the leaderboard as well. But so far the top 2 is starting to get slowly solidified for a potential slot in the grand finals.
Yep, currently the pace for Birdie is roughly a 0.3, which is pretty fast because it's a low 46. And on this track, as long as you have a good bobsleigh and drive rest of the track pretty well, and also ice slide, you can easily get a low 46, and so that's what all the players are striving to do, because at this point it's not about points, it's not about maintaining, it's more of trying to win, trying to nab out as many points away from other people and adding it to yourself. In this case, currently we see Semco all the way in the lead. Right behind him is Birdie and Kunal. Huso being left behind just a teeny bit. We're onto the ice slide. Kunal not having the best of ice slides so far in the match, but we can see that he maintains quite an amount of speed. Semco having a really just comfortable lead, but a fight for second place, and it will go to Kunal.
Actually, Kunal had a pretty solid ice slide. Birdie had to readjust it. Due to that, he lost a bit of momentum. But it did seem like that it was enough to overtake Birdie. However, the scoreline is still pretty big, over 20, I believe, 15 points. So there is a bit of room still to, to catch up for that top 2. But Semco is definitely starting to solidify him as a potential favorite of this whole tournament, actually, in the end. As we're now going to be going to Eden, a bit of a straightforward map as well. Really relies on smaller optimizations, especially for the peak pace. So there's a lot of parts, especially at the start, where you really need to get the gear properly and trying to just avoid oversteering a bit too much, because just having a minimal amount of steering will really help just to keep the momentum going and have that extra time or speed gain, especially as they will go on the freewheel parts. Also, we'll see during on the freewheel part some players trying to do a bit of a snap to snap into a no slide. So we might see some mistakes coming out in like weird touches, I would say, from the middle part, because the map isn't that difficult, so just trying to save as much time while going as close as possible will be definitely a mistake that we might see popping up from time to time.
And in terms of pace, Birdie all the way in first, having a 40.8. Hopefully, we're probably not gonna see a time that stupidly ridiculous in the rounds, especially. But a low 41 is definitely doable. Although it's a low 41 is basically reaching like around the top 10 spot, which is where Huso and Kunal are both sitting at. Whereas Shemko and Birdie both have sub 41. Actually, no, Semko actually having a 41.000. And off into the first round we go. On the start, Kunal not having just a teeny bit slower on the start, a bit too high on the entrance, being behind the rest of the Turkish players. Yeah, being 0.1 behind onto the freewheel part. All players still pretty close together, no major mistakes so far. The drop down drift, Semko actually clipping the side of the wall, and now it's Birdie Huso in the lead on the 1-2. Now, Birdie definitely creating a lead for himself, creating more space to work with, but he hits the side, and now it's just Kunal against Huso. 1-2 position. It will be solidified by Huso actually getting first, getting 10 points, and yeah, both players in the 1-2 position accidentally hitting the wall, accidentally clipping, not managing to clear off the round with a lot of points.
To be honest, very lucky round for both Huso and Kunal, because both all the top two players really made a mistake, because they really tried to, exactly the same thing that I said, they really tried to push it for those just minor time gains, but both of them managed to clip it, and in the end only a 0.4 was the winning time at the very end. So at the moment seems like Birdie and Huso are currently leading, Semko with a small mistake at the start, Huso with not the fastest start, so the whole 0.2 behind. A bit of a delayed drift from Kunal's side allows actually Semko to catch up, same with Huso not having the best of exit speeds as well. Kunal readjusting his exit speed now. There's a close fight for the second place. Birdie in a pretty solid first position so far. Kunal as well currently in second place. Semko and Huso tries to hit the side. Doesn't make the finish. Allows even Semko to overtake as Birdie does take the plus 10 pointer in this match. But Kunal will also take the plus 7 as Semko and Huso then had mistakes at the end parts of the map.
Yeah, I would say for Huso it's definitely a struggle on this track because Birdie just beat Huso's PB very casually. So that might be something to look out for because Birdie is pretty quick on this track. He might be able to overtake Shemko in terms of point in the next 2 rounds or so. But on to the start, all the players seem to be really closely knit together, but definitely the Turkish players having a bit more exit speed, pulling out ahead. Kunal needing to pull out a bit more pace in order to try and match up to their start. But on to the... Okay, someone just hit the track point. Someone's
Birdie.
gone. We have a man down. Yep, Birdie. Maybe risking a bit too much there. And Shemko all the way in the lead, having a 0.3 lead against Kunal. So all the players currently definitely solidifying their positions. There will be Shemko in first, Kunal in second, Huso in third, and Birdie in fourth.
It seems like Kunal's a bit more safer play style. Is definitely starting to get some bit of a fruit in this match, as both Huso and Birdie are starting to have some minor mistakes during the, let's just say, midfield of the maps. While Kunal is trying to just have that more safer approach. I see him a bit over adjusting the drifts, having a minor releases here and there, just to stay on the optimal line at least, and trying to at least get that consistency in. And it's so far actually paying off for him as he's starting to diminish the points gap between the top 2 and himself. As currently we have a pretty close start so far. Semko really attacking for the inside line. Huso did touch the side. It seems like a pretty solidified top 3 so far. Semko with a bit of airtime managed to readjust on the correct line anyway. Kunal is a bit behind the top 2 players, has a bit more exit speed entering the dirt part. However, the gap is a bit too big, so it's going to be a pretty solid 1-2 fight. It's going to be Birdie actually taking it in the very end with only 200ths of a difference over Semko, but Kunal will take third in this round in the end.
Yeah, and Semko already 1 round away from getting finalists, so this is going to be really difficult for Kunal and Huso to try and nab the second position to enter the upper brackets and stay having a second life.
Well, we'll see, because the top 2 winners actually will go to the grand finals. Lower ones will be put in the lower brackets. But definitely seems like the boats... Actually, Huso was looking as a clear number 3 on the match, but then there was a bit of an issue on his side, but in the end, does seem like that the how can I say this? Does seem like that some of the matchups from Huso's side definitely wasn't the most optimal in the starting map 2, as map 1 was all looking pretty good for him, but like later parts were not the best. And he was starting to make these silly mistakes, weird touches in the mid parts, and like early starts of the map has really started to, not have the best performance from his side.
Yep. And as for this unorthodox track, we have Bali. Semco actually having the best time so far, having a 0.36, Birdie having a 0.39. So really close 1-2, they definitely have the pace. And further down the leaderboard, we have Kunal, who is 0.3 slower than both of them. He has a 0.7. And Huso barely scraping a sub 48. So a low 48 or a high 47 is definitely the goal that you want to reach on this track. But let's take a look at how the players will drive this. We have currently in the lead is Semco and Birdie. Kunal not having the best of starts, falling back a bit. A bit of a wall touch from one of the Turkish players there. And that is Birdie definitely not getting anywhere into the top 2 now. It's definitely having to beat Semco, because if Semco just gets first and gets first again, he will enter finalist mode. Currently, he is having a pretty comfortable lead against Huso, just 0.1 difference, but Huso seems to have just a bit less speed, and so that's Semco running away with first, and now Kunal right behind him, having a lot of speed. He's now on to the last dirt part and the jump. If Semco manages to stick it, he will get the 10 points, and Kunal will be second with 7 points, and that is Birdie entering 4th and Huso on 3rd.
Yeah, now Semco does enter finalists. However, now Kunal starting to a bit close in on the points gap between him and Birdie is definitely going to be the main key thing to look out. Also for Semco to finishing off his finalists and denying points from the rest of the players as well. Because, it can still happen that all the rest of the 3 players just start denying Semco in this very part of the match. We'll see like how this will end up. It's currently Kunal, Huso, and Birdie are trying to chase down Semco from just doing just that. As Kunal Birdie currently in 2nd and 3rd place so far. Semco does lead the field. Or both Kunal and Birdie trying to really catch him up, as Semco has a bit wider approach, allows Birdie to a bit catch him with the inside line. It seems like the momentum from Birdie's side is a bit higher, however he had to release at the exit point. It does seem like Semco will have a clear pathway, and we might know our first grand finalist here and now. And it's Semco will be qualifying himself into the grand final. And Birdie will get the 2nd place with the +7, Kunal with the 3rd with +5, and Huso at the bottom with the +3.
Yup, and that's Semco going into the grand finals as the upper bracket 1st place. So definitely one of the strongest players we have seen so far, and now it's just the race between Kunal and Birdie. The point gap is definitely pretty big, but as long as Kunal can deny the 1st place away from Birdie, he might be able to nab this point. And as I say that, Birdie hits the wall, and currently it is Kunal and also Huso in the lead, fighting for 1st place. Kunal definitely wanting to get first. Huso might be able to take away a few points from him because he has a lot of speed, but he hits the wall, and now it's just Kunal left with the only clean run. It should be his round as long as he doesn't miss the risky fin, because the risky fin is pretty difficult to get consistent, and both the players pretty far behind him. Birdie having a 1 second gap between him and 2nd, and Huso is just nowhere to be seen really. And that is a free 10 points for Kunal. Birdie finishing off with 7, Huso reaching the finish soon, and that should be the round. And Kunal slowly gaining on Birdie as well. Birdie now on 99 points, so Kunal has just 1 more round in order to nab a few more points.
Yeah, definitely that round will definitely give like him that extra opportunity, to have a bit of room to work with. Despite not having the best of starts, he still has a good chance of trying to deny some wins, as Birdie has not the best of starts, and same thing with Huso as well. So Kunal has a pretty safe round so far. It also comes down on what does Huso do in the very end. It seems like Huso is really down on the leaderboard, so some of the Turkish guys are definitely starting to crumble a bit in this match. As Kunal does still lead the field. Birdie is trying to chase him down, but he had a minor touch from the inside line. So it's basically just Kunal now collecting the 10 points and just having to have the safe round getting in as he's over 1.6 seconds. Oh no, he did touch.
Oh no.
Oh, where is Birdie? Birdie's now gonna try to chase him down hard. The gap is still pretty big. I don't think it will be enough, as actually Birdie had another mistake from his side as well. And Kunal will make the risky finish, while Birdie won't. And Birdie will have his second attempt be getting the risky finish just barely above Huso, and he'll put himself into finalist.
And now it is Kunal on 97 points, so 3 points away from finalist as well. It's now up to him to deny Birdie the first place, or if Huso somehow pops off, manages to overtake Birdie as well. Now it's all on Kunal. Whether he is able to clutch this out, whether he is able to maintain the first position, being the fastest. But in the meantime, let's take a look at the stats for this track. So we have Synergy. All the way on the top, we have Birdie, Huso, 2 and 3. Samko definitely being faster than the rest, having a 0.2 gap between first and second. And Kunal on 5th, not having the fastest of time, just being 0.2 behind Birdie in terms of pace.
I mean, it is still possible to take a win from himself, but he will have to deny Birdie for 2 full rounds. So Birdie just needs to win 1 round and that's put himself into the grand final. While Kunal needs to have those 2 wins in to do from his side. Doesn't seem like the best warm-up for him so far. With a very unfortunate respawn there. But yeah, we'll see. Anything can still happen. So in total points, Birdie is at finalist. Kunal is only 3 points away. He does need to finish, however, he needs to deny. Birdie can't win a round if Kunal wants to have a saying. However, Huso definitely needs to win like 4 more rounds. Let me double check. Yeah, so he needs to win 4 more rounds for Kunal to partially snipe it. So Birdie definitely is then the player who is in the best position right now to put himself in the grand final. However, Kunal can still deny, have a bit of a say. It seems like a bit of a shaky line at the opening from Birdie's side. Still managed to maintain the same momentum as the rest of the field though. So actually now leading the field. As Kunal follows in 3rd place. Definitely a bit of a, maybe actually Huso might be the bit of a helper for Kunal if he managed to deny Birdie. As currently Kunal is around 0.4 behind the top 2 players so far. And it feels like it's going to be really hard for him to catch up. However, Huso now leads the field. It gives it a great opportunity for him to deny Birdie and give Kunal this extra opportunity left in this match. As Huso will actually be taking the plus 10 pointer in the end. And Kunal just needs to finish and he'll be put into finalists. So we'll have double finalists so far and who will make it into the grand final later this day.
Yeah, we have double finalists, and now this might be the race which is the deciding factor. Or if Huso manages to consistently keep up this pace, manage it home with him.
Oh, what an unfortunate start from Kunal's side, but it looks like Birdie as well with the mistake, so it seems like that Huso actually is now in a pretty stable lead, so it seems like Huso will cash in another point, still will deny both existing finalists from a slot in the grand final, as both of them had a very silly mistake early on. So Huso just needs to play itself, and he actually does so. He really tries to get those extra releases in. He doesn't have the best momentum going, as he's just trying to, you know, get that first place finish in, as everyone else in the field had a massive mistake so far. But seems like Huso will be the ninth finalist yet again with a very safe run as well, as the other mistakes were just way too big to, you know, have some necessary push. So actually good play there from Huso's side. It's not about the time, sometimes you gotta play the match, and Huso is only 5 points away. However, Birdie and Kunal are still both in double finalists.
Yep, if Huso manages to maintain this speed, he has, since this looks like the map that he will dominate, if he continues to get first for the next 2 rounds, he will be the one who would enter the grand finals as the upper bracket position. And as I say that, Birdie having the best bobsleigh out of all of them, Huso actually taking a really tight line, but not having the best exit speed. That is Kunal and who's Birdie both overtaking. Kunal as well not having the best of exit speed, and now it's Birdie all the way in the lead. Huso actually hitting off to the side, so this will be the deciding race. This will be the deciding factor whether Kunal or Birdie will be the one who's gonna make it into the grand finals. And it seems like Birdie with a 0.6 lead will be the one who will enter grand finals as the second upper bracket position. GG's to both the players and Huso as well.
Yeah, so now we had two Turkish players already put himself into the grand final. So it all comes down on who will now be coming from the lower side, as both Huso and Kunal are both in the lower bracket. Now, it would be nice to know what have been the updates from the lower side, because would be nice to see who will be the people who will be moving on to the top 8, and who are the 4 players who might have been eliminated from the field below.
We have updates on both the lower bracket rounds actually.
Oh, that would be really nice.
That will be making it through.
It seems like a bit of a laggy issue coming from Seagull's side.
Making it through is Spider and Seb. Planetary Goose and shit.
bit of a issue coming from my co-caster side. Good old network issue. But yeah, actually now we have known that results from the previous match have been that Semco Birdie will be the players who have managed to move up to the lowers, to the grand final, as both Kunal and Huso will be sent to the lower bracket. However, we'll see still, there's still some chance for them to work with and see how everything works from their side. However, it did seem like that the performance that did came from the Turkish side was definitely the way better one, as currently I'm waiting till maybe my fellow co-caster will be finally rejoining me, but doesn't seem like it so far, as he has a bit of internet issue. But yeah, soon in around
Hello.
Okay,
Am
he
I
is
alive?
back. Okay, it seems like you might be alive. You're a bit freezing on my end, but everything seems to be good. Okay, yeah, he disappeared. Okay, yeah, it still happens. Good old internet issue. Pops up here time to time, but yeah, either way, we're gonna go on a small break while we set everything ready for our lower bracket semi-final, where we'll be seeing. Seems like both OCE players will be eliminated, so not a single player from Oceania region is in the top 8, as we're gonna seeing a full Asia lower bracket final. And who'll decide who will be the 2 people from the upcoming match who will be playing against Kunal and Huso for the slots in the grand final. So definitely stay tuned. And we should be finally back with both of us now. So now we will have the lower bracket semi-final being played out, where at the off stream and off the main broadcast there were 2 matches also being played out. Let me double check all the results. So from home, now we got like 2 winners from each of those 2 matches. Now we're seeing the lower bracket semi-final. We played out between Spider, Kudajinkra, Gaming Boy, and Seb. So sadly, all OCE players from one of the semi-final were eliminated. So one of the matches had both Planetary Goose and Swede from New Zealand as the OCE's last chance, but it was not enough for them to take it. And on the other lower semi-final was that in the match between Kudajinkra, Gaming Boy Sky, and Nami. It was really close. It was multiple finalists even from what I saw. But it was not enough for them to take it, for Sky and Nami to take it in the end, and due to that, Gaming Boy and Kuda will be continuing. Still the good chance for my prediction. I remember I said yesterday that we'll see Semco, Birdie, Kunal, and Gaming Boy in the final. So my prediction still has a chance, but we'll see how this goes. Seems like players are kinda ready, or they're getting set up to be ready. But if you look at the previous results that we came from the upper bracket final. So in the upper bracket final, we had that Semco and Birdie were the 2 people who managed to go into grand finals, whereas Kunal and Huso were a bit sent to the lowers. So Semco Birdie will be awaiting in the grand finals and have already secured a bit of prize money for their side as well. Whereas Kunal and Huso will be waiting for the 2 winners from this exact match we'll be playing against, to see who will be the chance to reach in the grand finals. So that will be the match that we'll be now witnessing, to see who will be the 2 people who will be facing off against Kunal and Huso. Seems like the match is basically ready to go. So we're gonna have a bit of a small prediction from your side. Who do you think might be the 2 people from these 4 players who might be going into the lower bracket final?
I would say that all these players definitely have potential to, make a really good run. But I think the strongest pick so far, I think, is definitely Kuda and Gaming Boy. These 2 players have shown massive potential so far. I have yet to see... I think we have yet to see Spider play. Like, we haven't seen him do any seeding. We haven't spectated any of his matches. But yeah, him and Seb are really good players as well. And they might have the potential to overtake basically everyone else, but my prediction for now is definitely Gaming Boy and Kuda.
So at the moment, I would say Seb also might be the person who we shouldn't sleep on. But since I'm a player from Wolves as well, there's gonna be a bit of, the the biasy factor. I will keep my strong with my prediction, and that Kuda will be the player who will be one of the ones who will be making it. However, I would say Seb might be the other player who might come out on top from this match, as we're actually starting off our first round from the lower bracket semi-final, with the Seb with a very early good start, with a Jinkra with a small oversteer from the middle part, allows Gaming Boy and Spider for a small overtake. Seb currently still is in a small lead, following by Gaming Boy and Spider in 2nd and 3rd positions, with a Jinkra with a very shaky drift actually, as Seb still manages to put himself in a proper leading position, where Spider follows him into the 2nd position so far. It seems like there's gonna be a pretty solidified 1, 2, 3, 4, unless a mistake pops up at the very end. Seems like it does, because Seb will be opening the opener with a 46 flat, when Spider's securing the +7, with Gaming Boy with the +5, and then Kuda Jinkra with a very shaky start of the match in the 4th position.
On this track, especially in terms of pace, Seb is far ahead. Actually, not really much far ahead, but him and Kuda are definitely a bit more faster in terms of pace compared to Gaming Boy and Spider. But this is rounds after all. You cannot just, take a look at the leaderboard and see who's better. It's all about how well you can drive and how consistent you can drive. But now Kuda leading the way. Spider and Seb both making a tiny mistake, maybe losing a gear that's slowing down. But now it's Kuda and Gaming Boy in the 1-2 position, fighting for the lead. Both players driving really well so far. Kuda definitely having a more inside line, Gaming Boy as well. And both players seem to be pretty neck and neck, but Kuda falling behind a bit. gaining, taking the lead. Kuda gonna have to do a bit more if he wants to keep this race up, if he wants to maintain a really high position and move on.
Yeah, it seems like again a bit of a connection issue is happening from my co-caster Seawall side, but due to that actually around Gaming Boy puts himself in the top leads. He has been a player who was always in the top 4, top 6 of AOTCs, and so far definitely put himself in that potential criteria, as this is around the top 8 parts, with the Kuda having a bit of an oversteer early on. Seb still does leave the field, but however Gaming Boy and Spider have a bit more extra speed comparing to him, so Gaming Boy might be the player who might be stepping up his game most of them, and trying to catch up everyone else in the field, as they're a pretty close fight for the 1, 2, 3 so far. Spider currently has a minor lead, but over Seb and Gaming Boy are really close. On top of that, Seb has a minor touch, actually allows even Kuda to get an overtake. That's currently a very unfortunate sub part where to crash from Seb's side, just in front of the field, but actually it looks like Kuda will be overtaking Game in the very last turn with a very bit more inside line and snipe himself with those extra +2 points. A Spider does take the +10 in the end.
I would say in terms of points now, the points is definitely really close. The gap between the first and last place is only 6 points, and my internet is trolling.
Happens.
My internet is doing big troll, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
continue. You can continue on.
Yeah, it's all fine. So at the moment, it does seem like Gaming Boy definitely might be one of the potential favorites, but actually Spider, I think in both of our predictions didn't seem like it that he might be the contender, but actually now after the first map, he is the person who has the most amount of points. Yes, the gap isn't that big, and the match still can go either way, but it does seem like it that Spider also puts himself in the contender list, especially since he was one of the people who also knocked out the last few OC players from who are left in this competition. Previously, we saw in the previous match quite a bit of low 46s being done on this match, so we'll see. We saw the pace comparing to the upper bracket final was a bit lower, I would say around like 0.3 slower on average. However, we'll see how will this end up in the end, because at the moment it seems like that all of the Asia scene has been looking a bit more dominant comparing to the rest of the fields so far, especially in this match. The fact that it can go still either way, it's kind of gonna make it quite hard to predict. So I feel like the one who's gonna be the more consistent one will be the one who will be coming out on top, especially on a map like this that's a very snowball heavy. So one mistake will completely ruin your round. So that's definitely a thing that players don't want to make it happen.
As for Chicken Steak, in terms of pace, we have Kuda and Spider definitely being the faster players here into this round. So in this case, consistency is key, because if you push too fast, a lot of mistakes will be made, and Seb having a really high exit all the way in the back. We have Gaming Boy and Kuda both taking 1 and 2. But one of the players actually flying off into the side, and that is Kuda Jinkrak losing a lot of speed. Now it's just Gaming Boy and Spider both trying to take on the position of first place. But Seb, with a lot of exit speed, might be able to overtake everyone in front of him, having a really tight line, overtaking Gaming Boy. But now it's all on to the ice part. Yes, the ice slide. Gaming Boy with a really nice ice slide might have more exit speed than Seb. And now it's all up to the end part. Seb not having the best of lines, not having the best of speed, and that is Gaming Boy maintaining his first position.
Yeah, definitely wasn't the fastest rounds that we saw, especially comparing to the upper bracket final, where you probably would do 46-9 and would get last. But definitely, it was still enough in this round. A lot of silly oversteers, I would say, happening from most of the players. Like Seb was the only person who got the most optimal XSP coming out of the tech turn that allowed to him reduce the gap. But yeah, still a lot of micro time saves what players can do in middle parts. So Seb has an unfortunate touch early part of the map, and since this map is very heavy for the snowball parts, you can only equalize the speed on the tech side. So at least the start is the only part where you can kinda equalize the speed with the field. However, catching up 0.9 on a map like this is gonna be really difficult, as there's a close fight at the 1, 2, 3, 4 so far. Spider is leading the field, following by two Indonesian players so far. Kuda does have a bit better exit speed. It all comes down on the ice slide, who has the better setup. Seems like Gaming Boy, and actually Kuda has a very good setup with a very beautiful inside line as well. However, Spider has a bit more exit speed with a minor ice wiggle as well, and actually Spider will be overtaking the lead with the 46.4, so we're getting some better times here as well. This is like the upper bracket times that we saw done consistently, so quite nicer to see that they're up their pace, but we're starting to have a bit of a discrepancy in points as Spider and Gaming will have a minor points lead. However, it's not still too big, and Kuda and Seb are still quite close in terms of leaderboard.
This might be the closest round we've seen so far, especially on the lower bracket side. All players seem like they have the potential to move on and potentially get a chance in top 4 and also secure their spot in top 6. All the players now really driving and just being really quick. I don't know how to say. All the players just driving really well right now. A bit of a gap in between all the players. Seb having the lead, but it's now all down to the ice part. Like you said, Seb is really good at capitalizing off the tech part, but the ice slide is the most crucial part of the track, and that should be Gaming Boy all the way in the front. Seb second, Kuda Jinkrak almost sniping the second position, and Spider in fourth.
Yeah, it was a pretty solid round from everyone. Wasn't the fastest of rounds, but was really, really close. But after, as we ended Chicken Steak, Gaming Boy does put himself into a pretty solid lead that will especially give them those extra points when closing into the finalist. But it was a pretty solid round, to be honest. Spider is at the moment in second place, Seb is in third with 33 points, and Kuda Jinkrak is in 4 with 32. So a match still can go either way. There is a bit of a difference between the top 2 and bottom 2. However, the gap isn't that big, especially comparing to other matches that we saw also in the South America Cup, where like the points difference was basically double the points. So definitely one of the closer round matches between all 4 players, because it can still go either way.
Yep, and if we take a look at the pace part of things, we have definitely the fastest player that we can see so far on the leaderboard is Spider on 12th, Kuda in 13th, Gaming Boy in 17th, and hold on, the last player, we have Seb in 7th, sorry, I missed out his name, but yeah, Seb is definitely the fastest out of the rest, and it looked like he might be the favorite going into this map. He might potentially make a small point comeback and potentially nab a few more points away from Spider and Gaming Boy, who are both leading right now. But yeah, as you said, the point gap isn't that big. It's only a 13 point gap between first and last, and anything can still happen. And this is the end of the warm-up. We get into the first round of Eden, a really interesting map. A lot of gearing on the start. If you miss out the gear, you will lose a few 1.2 of time, and looks like all players seem to be in a okay position, but Spider and Gaming Boy actually yeah, 2 people touched, and now it's just Seb and Kuda fighting for the 1-2 position in the front. Seb having a bit more speed, going very wide, but Kuda having the better line all the way in the front. He's making a pretty comfortable lead, a 0.3 lead ahead of second place Seb. So this should be the 1, 2, 3, 4 solidified, unless someone does a bit of trolling. But I don't think that's happening, especially in the lower bracket.
Yeah, actually pretty solid time from Kuda, I believe. 41.
Yeah, really solid. 41.
Yeah, 41-1. We always saw the
that
point.
Almost matches Seb. Wait, this is PB.
Also, Kuda PB'd in his match, so
yeah. Kuda PB'd in this match.
Pulling a Sky,
yeah,
I guess. But yeah, so we're coming on to the next round. So Kuda definitely starting to up his pace. Spider had an early touch, so it's a very simplistic map, so we see a lot of players are really trying to get those, reduce the travel distance, trying to get closer to the walls, trying to optimize their lands like that, and some mistakes, some touches pop out due to that. Because currently Kuda does lead the field, followed by Gaming Boy and Seb in second and third place. Seb had a bit better tech drift, and allowed Gaming Boy for the overtake. We actually closed in on Kuda as well for the top fight for the plus 10 pointer. Seems like gonna be a very close fight. Better approach from Seb, but it's not enough to take it, as Kuda will secure another plus 10 pointer, and him being at the bottom of the scorer, getting those 2 plus 10 pointers definitely is quite nice in his pocket.
Yeah, I would say now Kuda actually overtaking Spider in terms of points. Gaming Boy and Kuda, both the Wolves player, are 1 point are having a 1 point difference actually. So yeah, the gap is still really close from first to last. It's still anyone's game at this point as we go into the last round for Eden. All the players seem like they have a pretty good start. Spider lacking a bit in terms of pace, falling behind, but no one crashed the start, at least in this round. And now Kuda is leading the pack. Seb not having the best of drifts, being overtook by both Gaming Boy and Spider, but Kuda definitely building up a lead for himself. Spider falling behind. Gaming Boy trying to keep up to Kuda, trying to get a bit more pace, but this is all the players going into the finish. It should be a solidified 1, 2, 3, 4. First for Kuda, second for Gaming Boy, third for Spider, and fourth for Seb, respectively.
Yeah, despite Seb being the fastest player here on paper, actually Kuda is the one who has started to get himself some extra points and puts himself in actually a solid points lead. Leftly jumped from last to first, just due to the span of 4 map, having a perfect map, getting all those 40 points. And definitely that came in useful as well. Going to be going on next map. Can you give some info on how are the stats looking at the moment, the total points wise? Both Kuda and Gaming Boy are leading, so both two Wolves players are with 62 and 60 points respectively. Definitely putting their small favorites entering this map. And
Yep.
Spider has a bit fallen with 53 and Seb at the bottom with 50 points.
In terms of pace, Seb once again is actually one of the faster ones coming into this match, having a 46.0, whereas the closest one is Kuda Jinkrak in 9th, having a 46.1, so that's already a 0.1 difference between first and second. Further down we have Spider and Gaming Boy, Spider having a 0.2, Gaming Boy having a 0.3. So all these players seem like they could be really close in pace, just having a 0.4 difference between first and last on the leaderboard. It's just up to how well they drive and how consistently, and also how much they risk in the following turns.
Yeah, most of these maps are very bit more simplistic in their nature, but when the map is a bit more on the simplistic side, a bit more risking comes part naturally. So sometimes there's just trying to get close, trying to optimize that line, trying to reduce that oversteer a bit, and sometimes it forces out a small mistake at the very end, as we're gonna get on first round on this map. As all players are going for the small touch, as both Spider was the only one who clipped from the inside line, so with not the best of bobsled approaches. Still managed to say in a second plate, actually gain a bit more speed on Kuda, but then have the best approach on the dirt side. Kuda currently does lead the field, followed by Gaming Boy in second place. Gaming Boy with better drift, but had to release at the exit side to adjust the line, because the entry point is very, very tight. With the Jinker with the better approach as well. Seb has a solid exit speed as well. However, Seb tries to exit from the attack from the inside line, doesn't have the bit, actually reduces the lead a bit, starting to get a bit more better momentum going. Actually will snipe Kuda at the very end, getting that plus 10 pointer at the end, but Kuda will secure plus 7 in the very end as well, as Gaming with a plus 5, and Spider with the early mistake from the start will at least finish off with plus 3 in the end.
Seb really good on those tech turns, really putting out a really good drift, trying to maintain as much speed as possible. All these players, the point gap is still really close, just being a 13 point difference. But as you can see on the start, so far no players making it, but Spider not risking the trick, not going for the ramp on the side. But Seb is definitely holding on to the lead, but now it's just all a matter of who maintains the most speed. Yep, Seb still up ahead, but Kuda having a lot of speed going into the drift. Can he maintain it through the turns? And he can, but Seb still holding the lead pretty comfortably. We have Gaming Boy, Kuda falling behind a bit, and now it's just a fight for first place between Seb and Gaming Boy, but Seb actually hits the side, and now it's all on Gaming Boy to just cruise into the finish line. And second place would be Seb, third would be Kuda, and fourth will be Spider. A bit of an unfortunate round.
Yeah, a lot of mistakes popping up from everyone. Also, Spider not having the best of drifts in the middle. Like that's what I said. Like, this map is kind of simplistic in its nature. There were some of those tight gaps where you actually have more speed, but it seems like that both Kuda and Gaming Boy are now both in double finalists. So we might see there's a great opportunity for both Indonesians to move up on the higher tiers on the next round of the bracket. So it really comes down on what they can do in this round. It's all upon Seb and Spider now to deny them from those extra points so far. Seems like Gaming Boy and Kuda are the ones who to attack. Seb also at the top of the field so far. Gaming Boy tries to tag with the middle line. Definitely both Indonesian players are having the best exit speed coming out so far. Gaming Boy with a bit of airtime has to readjust the line, gets on the road, but it's not enough. It loses the position backwards. As Seb's trying to attack, it's a bit better dirt entry line. Where is Kuda? Kuda touched the inside line, and he gave away some extra points to Seb. And Seb will be denying the finalists from both Indonesians as well. On top of that, Spider will snipe Kuda for even those extra 2 points at the very end as well.
Oh boy, we have triple finalists. This will be a very interesting match to watch. Seb, Kuda, Gaming Boy all in finalists. If Spider manages to get a really good time on the next track, he will too enter finalists, and that will be just a really fun match to watch. Having 4 finalists in the lower bracket round fighting for their spot for top 6.
Yeah, the only top 2 players will move on to the lower bracket final. And the bottom 2 players will be the ones who will get eliminated. So it all comes down on Bali, on who will be the best players coming out from this. Seems like, I believe Seb was the best favorite with their peak pace. But can you give some extra information regarding such info?
Yep. Seb has a 0.5, so he's 4th in the overall leaderboard. Whereas if we take a look at the other players, we have Kuda on a 0.7, Gaming Boy on a 0.9, Spider as well on a 0.9. So in terms of pace, Seb is the one to look out for. Since this, like I said, Seb is really good on those tech turns, and this track is not shy of them. If he manages to really pull out as much speed as he can from all the corners and not mess up, not make any silly mistake, just push through in terms of pace, he will be the one who will move on to top 6, as well as the other players.
Yeah, in the warm-up, does seem like that Seb and Spider... was that a 47.5 that you... or a 48.5?
I think that was a 47.5,
okay.
So pretty good time already.
So 47s might be the peak times that we witnessed, but yeah, still triple finalists now. The winner between Gaming Boy, Kuda and Seb will be the one who will secure a slot for them in the lower bracket final. So it all comes down actually to Spider to potentially deny himself, because Spider just needs to win 1 round and he'll be put into finalist himself. So we'll see how everything else happens. Seb at the moment is in a leading position, but Spider is also at the top of the field. Both Indonesians are also trying to chase down from the bottom. Seb with a bit better start so far. Kuda, Jinker and Gaming Boy in a pretty solidified 1 and 2. Seb tried to readjust the drift, did allow Gaming Boy to catch up due to that. Gaming Boy with tiny bit more momentum comparing to Seb. Seb tries to maintain, he still is in leading position, but Gaming Boy really tries to tag. Bit too much oversteer coming from Gaming Boy's side. It all comes down to in the end who will be secure, and it seems like actually Seb will be sniping it and will be putting himself in the lower bracket final, denying the Indonesians a slot for it. So there's gonna be just 1 opportunity for the Indonesian players to make it into the lower bracket final, but actually Seb snipes himself and lurks himself into the lower bracket final due to that. Despite not having the best of matches, managed to put him in that position as well.
Yep, I would say in terms of map, Seb definitely really lucky having one of his best tracks against everyone else, because he just tied both Gaming Boys and Spider's PB on this track. But it seems like Kuda definitely has the pace for this track. All 3 players fighting for their lives right now, fighting to keep their lives in the tournament. All 3 players really close to each other. The pressure is on, but Kuda falling back just by a tiny bit, going a bit wide, having to release, and now 1-2 is just on Spider and Gaming Boy. If Spider manages to nab the lead, he will deny both finalists from Gaming Boy and Kuda Jinkrock and enter finalist himself, as Spider is literally 1 point away from finalists. And now on to the ending part, Gaming Boy having the lead. Spider with a lot of speed is now all on Gaming Boy to not miss the end, and actually snipes him, and Kuda manages to finish, and it is triple finalist for 2nd place.
Oh, what a fortunate exit there from Gaming Boy's side. That could have been it for him, but, you know, just that little, you know, perspective happened from his side, as we have now triple finalists to see who will be the last slot in the lower bracket final between Kuda, Jingrek, Gaming Boy, and Spider. So the winner of this round will be putting himself into the lower bracket final. The bottom 2 players will be eliminated. Kuda Jinker has an early touch, so there goes my prediction then. Spider actually now trying to give it. So both Indonesians having a solid match. Now potentially throwing it out in the later parts of the match will be quite decisive part to definitely not be behold, as Gaming Boy currently has a lead at over 0.3 over Spider. However, he really needs to bit of a too big of an oversteer coming from Spider's side. Definitely not the thing that he wants. Our Gaming Boy still has a solid lead. Spider does touch. However, Kuda is really trying to force get that close in. He's actually reducing the gap with Gaming Boy quite a bit. He goes for the full send side. Gaming Boy falls to the sequence and he clips. But it was still enough for him to make it. And Gaming Boy will be the player who will make it in the very, very end. And due to that, we'll have both Gaming Boy and Seb putting themselves in the lower bracket final. We'll be facing off against both Huso and Kunal for the slot in the grand final afterwards.
Kuda Jinkrok definitely having a hell of a run in this tournament, but unfortunately wasn't able to deal with the pressure as triple finalist for one position is really threatening, and he just slammed into the wall early on. Very unfortunate, but in the end, it is Gaming Boy to take the second position in the top 6. And just really well raced from all the players. Seb definitely having a lot of pace, definitely potential finalist. I wouldn't say anything much yet. But Kuda is out. There goes our prediction. And Gaming Boy does move on for a chance to maintain his top 4 AOTC position.
Yeah, definitely a bit of unexpected, I would say, because it was such a close match. Like, Spider also could be a very, very close on potentially taking that unfortunate touch from Kuda. Kind of messed it up everything, because that one small mistake that came with the pressure completely tossed his match away, which is a bit unfortunate in that regard. But soon we will have also the lower bracket final, where it will be the last chance for two people to potentially make it into the grand finals between Huso, Gaming Boy, who was it, Seb, and Kunal, as Huso and Kunal were the people who came from the winner's side. So now we have also known the 2 players will become from the loser's side. So it's gonna be a 3 versus 3, 3 people from Middle East, 3 people from Asia. So it will be a kind of interesting decider on who will make it, because it's still a possibility for 2 people from the Asia side, or like the Eastern Asia side, to potentially, put themselves into grand final. We have like a West versus East matchup in the very end.
West versus East. We have 2 Turkish already waiting at the grand finals, waiting for the challenges for anyone to rise up. David versus Goliath storyline coming through. Definitely the Turkish, the favorites coming into this tournament. We saw their leaderboard ranking and they were really dominant, and now it's all on this match deciding who will be the one entering grand finals, who will be the one who will manage to enter top 4 and earn themselves a bit of that sweet cash.
Yeah, definitely one of the highest prize pools within the region as well. So the top 4 people will be the ones who will have a bit of prize money, in total of 360 USD. It will be distributed between the top 4 players. But yeah, we're gonna go into a small break while we set up everything for the lower bracket final between Huso, Seb, Gaming Boy, and Kuno. So definitely stay tuned. And welcome back to the Asian Oceania Trackmania Championship. We just had the lower bracket semi-final being played out. Now we're going to be having to run a lower bracket winners final. Yeah, that's how you can say it. That's going to be the match that we're going to see. It's going to be between Huso, Kunal, the two people who did manage to came from the upper bracket final. And now it's going to be their opposition, who is going to be Gaming Boy and Seb, the two players who managed to come from the lowest bracket semi-final. So those will be the two extra people who we'll be witnessing in this match. So what are your overall predictions? We were actually discussing it offside, like who might be the two favorites coming in at the end of this match, who'll be the two people who might come in to the grand final from these four participants.
I mean, first of all, we always have to take a look at the leaderboard, take a look at the stats of the players. We have Huso TM in 6th in overall ranking, 33,000 points. Right next to him is Seb on 7th, 33,000 points as well. And further down, we have Mr. Gaming himself. Mr. Gaming has 16,000 points. And wait, are we yes, yeah, so that's Huso, that's Seb, and we have Kunal actually leading the pack at 36,000 points. So in terms of points, Kunal is definitely the one to look out for, the one who can potentially go in as the 3rd seed into the grand finals.
Yeah, in the previous match we did saw that both Seb was the player who managed to snag in the win at the very end, eliminating Kuda Jinkra, who was looking as the potential match winner at the very end, but it was just not enough. Very unfortunate mistakes coming out when the pressure did came, and due to that we are sending Kuda Jinkrak and Spider off the AOTC tournament today. But we still have the top 6 being left out between on who will be the two players. So I would say personally, my personal prediction, I would love to see most likely Gaming Boy and Kunal, so we have a bit more diverse final in the very end. But however, Huso was looking pretty decent on some of the maps. I think Huso had a bit more better peak pace than some of the other guys who are in this match, especially on maps like Synergy. He will be popping off if that map will be played, so we'll see how that will end up either end. But yeah, we're actually gonna go into a bit more different look before starting off in the very final. So while we still set up everything, we kind of have a small introduction of the players who will be playing into the grand final. So while we set up into the in-game view, we'll have some very fancy things to showcase. So one of them is gonna be the upcoming matches and a bit of an info on some of the upcoming players who will be playing into the lower bracket final. So while everything is being said, we give a small introduction who are the players who will be witnessing. So one of them is Huso. Huso is a player from Turkey. He's 18 years old. This is his first tournament appearance. He does play on keyboard, uses mainly camera 1, and his main style is tech. Then the other players that we have in this match, or more like their parts of their opposition, was also a player from India who managed to came from the top side, was the winner of the Trackmania India Cup as well. He's 18 years old, does play on controller. Also plays camera 1. We start to see a lot more camera 1 players seeing nowadays. He has previously gotten 7th in the AOTC, so now getting top 6 is definitely his highest placement. And his preferred styles are both tech and dirt, as most of these styles are basically of this style. And two other players that will be joining into his lower bracket final. One of them is Seb. Seb is originally a player from France, but he 8 years ago did move and now fully resides in Taiwan. His best placement was AOTC, 2nd place in AOTC Summer. He does play on Xbox One. He uses camera 2, and his preferred style is tech. He used to also play for teams like Team Hot and LDLC as well, more than a decade ago at this point. And the last player we have in this match is Gaming Boy, the youngest player within the scene. Has best placements have been AOTS, or which before AOTC was called Asian Oceania Trackmania Seasonal. He did manage to place 3rd in that, was placed 2nd as well, and had some couple top 4 placements in the regular AOTCs as well. He's a bit of an all-rounder. Does use his keyboard. Definitely was one of the players who started to pick up the game the earliest between all of the players. But yeah, those will be all of the players that will be witnessing in this match, and we'll see how everything will look like and who might be the favorites coming out at the end as well. I would say Gaming Boy is definitely the one who has the most results to showcase. However, anything can still happen, as it looks like we're gonna be on the way with this match.
Yep, like I said, Seb also one player who has been playing for a really long time. So in terms of experience, he's definitely not shy from it, and he doesn't have the nerves showing. He's playing really consistent so far. Not much mistakes from him, and Kunal actually falling behind early on at the start. Huso in third, Gaming Boy in second, Seb in first. Looks like Gaming Boy and Seb both fighting for the lead. Huso just needing a bit more speed to, potentially get into the top two. And he actually clips the wall, and so now it's just Seb and Gaming Boy fighting for 1 and 2. Seb, Gaming Boy both driving really well onto the plastic drop down. It seems like Seb just have a teeny bit more speed, but he hits the side, and that is Gaming Boy into the finish, having 10 points. A great start from him.
So yeah, both looks like the both two lower bracket players are starting to, let's just say, start off the match in bit in their favor, as both Huso and Kulnok were both people who came from the winner's side. Definitely having a bit of mistakes coming out here and there, as we're going to be coming on the second round on this map. Currently no early mistakes. Some people, we do see them going for the bit of a, what's it called, a no-slide approach. It seems like all players are still very close at the top field. Everyone is being separated with only 0.1. So with the delayed entry, seems like Huso, Kunal, and Gaming Boy are the ones who are currently in the top 3 positions. Gaming Boy returned with an early lead, but still pretty close fight at the top, as Huso does leave it. Leads the field with Kunal in second and the Gaming Boy in third. Bit of a higher jump coming from Gaming Boy's side. However, he does have a bit more momentum. Gets risked a very nice inside line. Gets way more exit speed comparing to everyone else. Also tries to risk it for the inside line, but Gaming Boy will still take the winner. Winning this round with the +10. Very solid round from everyone. Seb was also a bit behind, but was not enough to match the pace with the top 3 players within this round.
I would say a 0.1 is a very respectable time, especially in rounds. All players looking pretty strong going into this round, having really close gaps in terms of time, but Gaming Boy already having a tiny bit of a gap in terms of points overall. But whether he can keep it is another question. So far he has won 2 out of the 4 rounds that has been played on this track, but now Seb all the way in the lead. Huso not having the best of starts, doing a little hiccup on the start. Seb not having the best of parts there, get overtook by everyone else. And now Gaming Boy is now the one in the lead. Right behind him is Kunal, followed by Huso. All these players trying their best to optimize the lines, get as much speed as possible, but Gaming Boy going off to the side a bit, and now in the lead is Kunal. All the way in the front. Actually, no, Huso overtaking everyone, and he's the one who's going away with 10 points. Gaming Boy with 7. Kunal falling. Actually, wait. Hold on. We have a tight time.
Oh, and Gaming Boy managed to win by the alphabets.
Yes, the alphabet. Alphabet gaming, guys. Alphabet gaming. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Gaming Boy.
Yeah, and the G was a bit stronger than K this time. As we're coming on to the next round. Last round on Twin Turbo. At this time, Gaming Boy not having the best of starts, especially when he had to go over the free wheel block. Well, didn't manage to maintain most of the momentum. Kunal is in a minor lead so far, following by Huso. So both two upper bracket players are now starting to have some saying in this match. Kunal is leading the field with Seb being a bit behind. Small touch coming from Kunal allows Seb for the overtake. Managed to keep the way more momentum comparing to Seb so far. Huso does still lead the field. Seb is in second place so far. Seems like it that Gaming Boy will actually be overtaking Kunal for those +3 points, as Huso will take the +10 in the very end, and Seb will taking the +7, Gaming Boy with the +5, and then Kunal with the +3 in the very end.
Gaming Boy and Huso already leading the pack, both having 32 points, having 12 more points than Seb. So this might already be a solidified position unless something happens or if Seb gets a map, which he's really, really good on. Which is, from what I can tell, definitely it is, according to the leaderboards, Eden. He does quite well, and especially Bali, as he's on 4th. Whereas if we take a look at Huso is definitely really good on Synergy. He's pretty consistent on the rest, but Synergy is definitely his best track. And if we take a look at Kunal, Kunal is really good on Twin Turbo, surprisingly, but unfortunately wasn't able to capitalize due to just lack of pace.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to see how this will go. I'm personally expecting to see like Seb a bit fall down during this map. At the moment, he's rated number 3 in terms of points. So I'm kind of expecting to see Huso and Gaming Boy, maybe Kunal, to excel in terms of points, sending Seb a bit lower. But you know, trying to force for that extra pace, trying to get that momentum going, trying to get those bit more inside lines and a bit more closer to the walls to optimize that travel distance is one of the key things that will be kind of needed for most of these guys. And they're gonna pop out some mistakes here and there due to that, and I believe that might be a chance for Seb to take it. He definitely might be the leader coming in the early parts of the map, but the fact that, you know, there's the what's it called, the ice slide coming in the end, that's kind of not the most optimal for him, might actually mess up his round here and there.
And into the first round of chicken steak we go. All players having a pretty close start, as the start is pretty simple, but the bobsleigh is the important factor of this track. Huso actually not having the best of starts. Seb also flying off to the side, losing a lot of speed. And now it's just Gaming Boy and Kunal fighting for the first position. If we take a look at both of them, they are neck and neck onto the drop down. Gaming Boy definitely having a bit of a tighter line. Kunal might be able to overtake him with more speed. Gaming Boy now needing to catch up. The drift is good. Gaming Boy has a really tight turn, almost hits the side, and now it's on to the ice slide part. Kunal versus Gaming Boy, who will have the better ice slide. Gaming Boy having to readjust Kunal, having a really clean slide overall and maintaining all the speed, and that should be a first place for Kunal, second place for Gaming Boy.
Yeah, not the fastest times due to with all the adjustments coming, especially at the ice slide part, but it was still enough to, you know, cashing on the mistakes that happened from Seb and Huso's side. But that actually is quite beneficial for Kunal, as now he's overtaking in total standing Seb. However, the points gap is over still. I mean, we're still in the early parts of the match, but the points gap is already 11 points. So definitely Kunal needs to step up his game if he wants to have still an opportunity at the end parts of the event. It's actually Gaming Boy starting to increase a minor league over Huso. So we might. I think Huso really wants to join his fellow Turkish players in the grand final. So we'll see how that ends up in the end. As currently we have a similar round as we saw previously, with both Kunal and Gaming Boy being at the top. But now Seb has joined the top 3 as well. Huso is meanwhile has crashed out and is out of this round. Seb has with way more XSP. Seb usually struggles with the ice slide. Looks like Gaming Boy tries to attack with the inside line. Has a very nice line. Seb really struggles with that ice slide. Lost all of his momentum from that part. It seems like Gaming Boy will be taking the plus 10 pointer, as Kunal will take the plus 7. And seems like Seb will be even a bit of a struggled ice slides. Will be maintaining the plus 5. As Huso will just be getting the last place with the plus 3 in the very end.
I would say this track for these players is pretty difficult because their rankings in terms of the overall leaderboard is not the best as they, well, let's just take a look. The fastest pace on this track is surprisingly Kunal. Kunal on the 46.3, Seb on the 46.4, followed by Huso and Gaming Boy as well. Both players not doing the best, not being the fastest. But in terms of rounds, they're doing pretty well. Seb not being the most consistent on the ice slide and everyone else capitalizing on that fact. Now into the round we go. Seb not having the best of starts. Kunal pulling out ahead in front of Gaming Boy. If we take a look at the positions right now, we have Kunal in first, Gaming Boy overtaking actually, and now Seb in third. Huso with a bit of a hiccup back there. Kunal definitely trying to maintain this position. Seb as well onto the ice slide. Kunal having a pretty good ice slide, maintaining quite a lot of speed, but unfortunately slides out, and now it's just Seb on Gaming Boy. Huso as well having a lot of speed, might be able to snap for the second place position, and it is Seb managing to maintain second place by 0.1.
Yeah, he actually got a very nice SD going that managed to give him that extra exit speed at the very end to overtake Huso for those extra points. But it seems like that now Gaming Boy has increased the lead by quite a bit. Meanwhile, Huso is starting to, let's just say, lower the lead between the both bottom two players, as the gap is only between 6 and 7 points between the third and fifth place so far. So that's definitely a thing that they kind of need to work on. It seems like the Seb will be the person who will really need to step up his game due to some of these mistakes popping up here and there. It seems like the Gaming Boy still does lead the field with Kunal in second place, but however there's a solid fight for the top 3 positions so far, as Kunal and so both of the 3 Asia players are currently at the top. With Gaming Boy having a solid lead, it's pretty decent dice. Like coming from Huso's side, as Kunal has a small oversteer, and the Gaming Boy will take a solid plus 10 pointer in the end, as Suso will be taking the plus 7 in the end, which is a pretty decent time as well. I think that's the time that he will definitely need it if he'll be continuing on into the grand final as well.
Gaming Boy, although it looks like his pace is his pace is really good, and his pace is actually matching his PB. So in terms of pace, Gaming Boy is definitely really consistent. He's managing to get really close to his PB times, and if he can continue that tradition all the way, he might be able to just snap his way onto the grand finals. So as our prediction, it's pretty clear. Gaming Boy is now ahead by almost 20 points ahead of Fuso, which is in second by 50. Seb definitely not having the best of times on Chicken Steak, but now we take a look at Eden. If we take a look at the stats, we have Kunal on 6th, Seb on 7th, we have Fuso on 10th, and lastly we have Gaming Boy on 17th. So Gaming Boy definitely not having the best of standing, but from what we've seen so far, he's a player that can really match his PB pace. Although he doesn't have the highest pace of everyone here, none of the players seem to be able to maintain their PB pace so far.
Yeah, we'll see how this match ends up. It all comes down to consistency. Gaming Boy has definitely been cashing on most of the points, just with using his consistency in the very end. Basically, that's one of his key things that has kind of succeeded him during this match, as everyone else had like a couple of mistakes here and there. Managed to up his pace and get those like consistent rounds going, has started to rack up into this points lead, as we're now gonna be going into the first round of this map.
Yep, first round of the map we have Eden. So far, all the players are looking pretty strong. Kunal on 4th, Seb on 3rd, Huso in 2nd, and first Gaming Boy. In terms of points, onto the start, Huso has a really wide entry, having quite an amount of speed, but unable to overtake. And Kunal is now leading the pack onto the freewheel part and the drop down with the drift. This is a pretty awkward part to drive if you don't want to drive it. Huso with a tiny release, giving a bit more space to the people in front. Gaming Boy actually in 3rd, trying to keep up with both Kunal and Seb. Now on to the second dirt part, both players seem like they are really close, neck and neck. Seb and Kunal on to the ending. Who will be the one who is able to take home the first 10 points? And that is Seb. Just 0.02 faster than Kunal, manages to nab a few more points than him.
Yeah, the fact that the bottom two players will get those bigger points will definitely now equalize the scoreboard, as both Huso and Seb's points difference is only 1 point. And Kunal is also very, very close there with only 7 points difference between the top two, while Gaming Boy is over 20 points leads. So that will give them those extra rounds potentially when the finalists will come in. But he still needs to get us, points lead potentially going. However, it has not been the best of times so far. As we're coming on the next round, seems like Seb has a pretty solid lead, followed by Kunal in 2nd place, Gaming Boy in 3rd so far. Seems like Husok has crashed out of this round. I believe that will put him out of the top 2 at the end of this round. Seb has a solid lead, same with Kunal. So both of the bottom 2 players really trying to fight for those top points. It's going to be a really close round at the top of the field, and Seb will be still taking the plus 10 pointer at the very end. But still both bottom 2 players getting those extra points, and I believe that will be pushing down Huso now down to the leaderboard.
Huso not having the best of time, especially on Eden, but Gaming Boy slowly losing more and more points. Seb is now slowly actually catching up to Gaming Boy, so in terms of pace, Gaming Boy really needs to step it up. Although he's been playing really consistent so far, the pace just isn't really there, and as I say that, he already drops the gear, and it is now Seb and Huso fighting for first place into the freewheeling part. Onto the drift. This drift, once again, is pretty difficult to get properly because there has been a lot of players that release and lose a lot of speed. That is one of the major points of this track, where if you don't drive it well, you will lose a lot of speed into the following part. But now Seb just moving on forward, really clean driving from him. 0.2 ahead of Fuso, Kunal in third, Gaming Boy all the way into the back, and that is another 10 points for him.
Yeah, and actually Kunal
Now
managed to
catch up.
snipe Huso
Oh.
at the very end, sending him more even down to the leaderboard. I believe now Huso is just 1 point away from being last. So he was in a pretty solid second place, but now both of the bottom two players having those proper 1 and 2s going in has now catch up him on the leaderboard. Pretty solid round for the fight of the second place. As now we'll be going on to the next round. Kunal not with the best starts. Everyone seems to maintain the gear except Kunal, but losing quite a bit of momentum. Actually, now Gaming Boy is one of the players who's starting to top some mistakes here and there. However, Huso is currently leading the field so far. Seems like it that Sebs currently leads the field, while just above Huso. Gaming Boy is really close there, but a bit of a small oversteer. Still allows the momentum to go and gets a bit more outside exit from that approach. Allows to potentially overtake Huso. Seb still leads in the field. However, Gaming Boy is starting to cash in on Huso a bit. However, this seems like the gap is going to be quite solidified in the 1-2-3, and Seb will take another plus 10 pointer. And I believe that will allow him now to go into the top sides of the leaderboard, as he is now going to be only 5 points away from Gaming Boy and has been increasing the points lead now with the bottom two players due to that.
Once again, Eden having the 41.3 as the winning time as per usual. Seb just really consistent, getting first place on all 4 rounds. All 4 rounds, 0.3s as well. Pointed out by Queen Clown in the chat, out one of the mappers for the AOTC map. Yeah, consistency is the king. Yeah, Queen Clown, the mapper for Eden, he's in the chat right now, and he's noticing how how Seb is just really good at it.
Yeah, as we're gonna be going to Bali, can you give some extra info on who are the top peak pacers on this exact map between the top 4? Who might be the people who we look out for? We saw that Seb was the fastest player in the lower bracket semi-final, but will he be the person who might squeeze himself into top positions on this map as well?
In terms of pace, Seb is far ahead of everyone else, being 0.2 faster than the closest one to him is Kunal actually. Kunal having a 0.7, whereas Seb has a 0.5. And Seb is 4th overall on the leaderboard, only being beaten by Semco, Birdie, and Boss Best, who's not even in the tournament. And further down the leaderboard, we do have Gaming Boy having a 47.9 and Huso with a 47.9 as well.
Yeah, this looks
so
like
Seb
this
might
map...
be...
Yeah, it seems like
Seb
this
might
map
be
order
looking
is
to-
really good for Seb actually. Like his early maps are not that good for him, but like the latter parts are actually the ones who are starting to favor him a bit more. That kind of allows him to like excel into the leaderboard afterwards, as we're going on the first round on Bali. Seb with the no slide actually early on, despite being the potential favorite on this map. Doesn't give him the best opportunity. Meanwhile, we have Huso and Kunal now at the top of the field so far. Our Gaming Boy is not too far in third place. One small oversteer, one small release, and it will allow Gaming Boy to catch up as well. Gaming Boy had a very good approach there. Allowed him to keep a lot of momentum from that drift side. And now he's in a fight for the top position so far. Huso is currently leading the field with only being 0.1. Really tries to enter from the side, but it was not enough. Managed to not even touch the ball. We had a really close approach, but seems like it's that Huso might be taking it. Small bit oversteer from Gaming Boy's side. Wasn't that enough to take it, and Huso will be taking a small bump from Gaming Boy. Almost allows even Kuno to overtake, but Seb will be getting a last position in this round, as we're gonna be slowly closing in on the finalist points limit as well.
Yeah, definitely one of the ones to look out for is Seb on this track, but unfortunately not being able to pull out. And Gaming Boy now being 6 points away from finalists, being really close to nabbing himself a position in the grand finals. He just have to finish top 2 in this case, and Seb is looking to join him as well, being just a mere 13 points ahead of Huso. And now into the match, Kunal falling behind. On the front, it is Seb and Huso. Huso actually going off to the side, not having the best of lines. Now Gaming Boy is now trying to catch up to Seb, whereas Kunal is in third. Huso having a bit of a hiccup, a bit of an oversteer, if I saw properly. Now in fourth. It looks like the points are slowly solidifying himself. Gaming Boy hitting a bit of the snow, actually losing a lot of speed. And now is Kunal actually the one flying into first place. Seb right next to him. Huso also gaining a lot of speed, might be able to go for the finish. Now all 4 players jump for the finish, and that's 2 of them missing. Seb and Huso are actually the ones to finish, and now Gaming Boy
Oh,
is
Gaming Boy
not
missed
gonna
it again.
misses again. No, Gaming Boy, just go for the safe one. Come on, he's still going for the risky. Okay, and he makes it. And that is Seb getting 10 points, getting just that bit closer to finalists.
That was so unfortunate for Gaming Boy because he needed to have a top 2 placement and he would be put into finalist. But now him both and Seb. Seb needs a top 3 placement while Gaming Boy just needs to have a finish. But he can still deny points for everyone on, let's just say, slow down the process for others to potentially get closer to that finalist so far. Seb does lead the field so far, so they're both potential points winners as Gaming Boy does clip the side, but has the momentum still quite kept up. Of course, it wasn't the most optimal, allows Huso to overtake, but I was expecting that touch will be a bit more sacrificial. As currently Seb does leave the field, followed by Kunal in second place, then Huso is in third. So Seb with a pretty big oversteal allows Kunal for an overtake and even allows Huso to get that snack in terms of points. So it's relatively close between the Taiwanese and Turkish player. It's gonna be close. Seb has way more speed. Huso misses the end, even allows Gaming Boy to overtake, and now we'll have a double finalist as Huso doesn't even still finish it. And I believe he will go for the safe way as everyone else has finished this round. But due to that, now we will have Kunal a bit closing in as well from the bottom side. And I will have a double finalist between Gaming Boy and Seb for that as potential slot in the grand finals.
Now all eyes on Seb and Gaming Boy, since now Huso and Kunal, even if they get first, they are only going to deny the inevitable. Seb and Gaming Boy, both of them really close in terms of pace right now, so whoever wins this, whoever gets first, just might be the one to look out for in the grand finals, especially on this track. Seb definitely has the pace to beat out everyone, but it's whether he can handle the pressure, and that is one of the players flying off to the side. That is Gaming Boy. So now the fight for first place is Kunal and Seb just pulling out forward, maintaining a lot of speed into the end. The only thing stopping him now is Kunal having a really good end part onto the ice. Seb not having the best of speeds, Kunal actually overtaking him. Now it's just on to the last jump. Kunal might be the one actually denying the finalist from even passing through to the next round. And as long as he makes the finish, and he does, that is 48.2 from Kunal. Seb with a 48.3. Huso with 50, and Gaming Boy following right behind him.
Yeah, and Kunal actually denies Seb the finalist the opportunity in the grand final. You know what that happens? Now both Kunal and Huso are both one potential route top 2 away from entering finalists themselves. So literally anyone but can potentially end off, and it's gonna be synergy. So this is a really good opportunity for Huso to make a nice comeback, as Kunal and Gaming Boy weren't the fastest in terms of pace. So this can go a potential opportunity where, you know, and we might see a potential 4-way finalist as well.
In terms of pace, Huso and Kunal and Seb, they have a gap of 0.2. Yeah, so it's pretty intense. Huso having a 45.8, Kunal having a 46, Seb also having a 46, whereas Gaming Boy is a bit further down the leaderboard, but it's all down to this map, and Huso might be looking to nab off a spot in the grand finals, and we might be able to see 3 Turkish men fight for the prize.
Well, we'll see. Of course, you know, Seb and Gaming Boy are still in the small advantage. They can also deny points, because if Huso and Kunal don't get top 2, they will still be locked out of the finalist contention. So not only just winning and qualifying, but also potentially, in case they don't make it, just, you know, qualifying, just denying those points from Huso and Kunal is quite important. As we're going on the first round of Synergy, we'll see how this will go, because people will be trying to risk for all those small time savers, as Seb will be first player to go out of this round. That small touch was not going off, as Huso is currently in a small league, gets a pretty solid bobsled as well. Now currently is being chased by Gaming Boy and Kunal so far. Huso does leave the field, small bump from the middle side, still managed to maintain the momentum going. However, Gaming Boy is at the top field. A bit too big of an adjustment from Gaming Boy's side, however he has a very solid momentum going so far. Huso with a small airtime, bit of adjustment, very nice drift from Huso's side. However, Gaming Boy still in the fight for the 1-2 positions, tries to attack for the inside line, gets way more momentum going. Bit too big of an overdrift from Gaming Boy's side though, and due to that allows Huso to take the lead, and he will be denying the finalist for Gaming Boy at the very end.
And now we have a triple finalist position where we can see Huso definitely has the pace to take it home. And we have triple finalists, Kunal being 2 points away from finalists as well. And the only way where Kunal can somehow manage to win this is if he gets a first place either now or later on. So this is really tense. Either ways, Kunal will be in finalists. It's just whether he wants to deny the rest from entering finalists or how. Gaming Boy
Huso
already
crashed
flying
out
up
as
to the
well.
side in the start. Oh no, Huso as well. So now it's just up to Seb and Kunal. Kunal being 0.1 behind. So this might be a potential quadruple finalist round where Kunal is trying to catch up to Seb, or Seb just might be able to nab away this victory since both Huso and Gaming Boy are flying out. Now Seb definitely in the side, and now it's Kunal breezing into the finish.
This is so
It's now just up to you to finish. This is scripted, man. This is scripted. Oh my god, we have quadruple finalists.
We gotta speak
Oh my
with the
fucking
script
God.
writers after the match, I feel like. As we have 4 finalists, as we have also 2 rounds left, so it will end off on this map no matter. Basically, this is the final round. That's it. It ends off here. So the winner of this round will be qualifying themselves to the grand final in the very end. It just depends on who will be one of those 4 people who will be putting themselves in that slot in the grand finals. As looks like Sam with the early mistake puts himself out of the contention. Huso definitely putting a bit of a favorite, as he's one of the better players on this map. But you know, small deny happening from Gaming Boys or Kunal side can still, you know, potentially switch the map in their favor. Huso still leads the field. Gaming Boys very close to the second place as well. Tries to go for a wider line, get a bit more exit speed. However, Kunal gets better exit speed out of the coming to the turn. Gaming has to readjust the line. Kunal attacks from the inside line. Huso doesn't get the best entry, as well as Kunal. Kunal's trying to attack Huso now. Huso is really close. It's going to be a solid 1-2 fight for Kunal. Gets the last part. It's between Kunal and Huso. Huso tries to attack for the inside line. It will be Kunal actually making it at the very end. And Kunal will secure India spot in the grand final for the first time in AOTC history.
Congratulations to Kunal. You have finally reached the grand finals. All your effort wasn't in vain. You may have dropped down, but you have another chance to fight again. And now we still have a triple finalist situation for all 3 players. Any tiny mistake will be the death of them. Seb going for the safe line, definitely not wanting to risk, waiting for the other 2 to make mistake, but now it's not really the time. Now is the time where you have to push for the best time as you can, as Huso and Gaming Boy now having a 1-2 lead, a pretty significant one at that. Seb going with a very inside line, not having the most speed, both of them running away, but Huso actually hitting the side, and now it's just up to Gaming Boy and Seb, both players trying to fight for the 1 or 2 position. Gaming Boy definitely has a much better lead, a 0.3 lead onto the sausage part. Can Gaming Boy keep the lead up? If he can, he will be the one moving on to grand finals. Very nice outside line from Gaming Boy, and now it's on to the end part. It seems like Gaming Boy is the one to take home the second position for
And
the
Gaming
grand
Boy
finals.
takes it.
We have a 2-on-2 Asian versus Turkish grand finals, guys.
Ay, ay, ay. Like, I was also starting to see both from Seb and Gaming Boy, like, very weird approaches. Like, they were like, you can see, like, the handshaking coming in, you know? But awesome to see that we will see that Gaming Boy managed to snipe in on a map that was very favorable for Huso, especially him having a way faster, consistent pace, comparing also the previous rounds as well. The fact that they did manage to squeeze out in the very end, like that's, and the manage, like it was so close, like that was so in favor of Huso actually. And the fact that it didn't make Huso's way is a bit unfortunate regarding that, but now we'll have a quite diverse final to look at the very end. So a kind of crazy match. We ended with the quadruple finalists on top of that. So what a crazy way to end off the loser bracket final. And now soon we'll have the grand final. So the 360 USD of total prize money put on the line between Birdie and Semco, who were already awaiting in the grand final. Their opposition was going to be Gaming Boy from Indonesia and Kunal from India. Actually, Gaming Boy all the time having that top 4 place, and he always doesn't seem like to be one of the top contenders, but he always squeezes himself into that grand final, never is considered as the potential favorite, and yet here we are again.
He's that kid that can squeeze through any nook and cranny you give him. He will sneak into any event, and in this case, AOTC top 4.
Yeah, it seems like there's the solidified pattern happening. Like I had a couple of basically a year ago at this point, when I was all the time just being the 4th place curse in Baltic League. I feel like we're starting to see a similar pattern happening with Gaming Boy here as well. But yeah, we're soon gonna get things ready in around like couple of minutes with the AOTC Grand Final between the two players from Turkey, which is gonna be Semko and Birdie, a player from Indonesia, and Wolf's being Gaming Boy, and then the last player we have in this match is gonna be Kunal from India, who will be the last player in the Grand Final. So definitely now stay tuned. Everyone, welcome back to the Asian Oceania Trackmania Championship. We are literally just one match away to see who will be the winner of the AOTC title this season. So we, in the very first edition, we had that was a whole year ago at this point, so it's a bit of an anniversary even at this point. It was simply Nick who took it in the first edition from Australia. In the second edition, it was Fidi from Australia who took it. In third edition, it was Winky Face from Australia who took it. Then the Australian chain got broken by Min from Korea who took the win. And now none of the players who managed to take the title previously are the ones who are participating or taking part in this event. So it's the time doors are open for a new contender to take it. And we have 4 players. 2 of them are from Turkey, Semco and Birdie. And as well, there's going to be Gaming Boy from Indonesia and Kunal from India are the contenders now for this edition. Will it be that time for the Turks now to take the, let's just say, pass the throne, especially since Australians have a bit fallen off? You can say that there was not a single Australian player in the top 12 even of the whole event. So not a single Australian player made it to day 2, which was a massive surprise, and the best OC player was Planetary Goose and Swid, who managed to get it in the top 10s, but that's basically where the reign of OC is starting to end. And I believe you have a piece of a text document, a bit of a novel prepared as well regarding the event.
So I flew in a scroll from a fellow Malaysian through a pigeon, because that's how we send letters here. And let me read it out to you. This is from our fellow Malaysian in the chat, Maibi. My grandmother used to tell me the stories about the old days, a time of peace when Min kept the balance between Asia and Oceania in the AOTC. That all changed when Turkey attacked. Only Min, master of all 4 map styles, could stop the ruthless Turkish. But when Asia and Oceania needed him the most, he vanished. 100 years have passed, and my father and the men of Malaysia journeyed to Korea to help fight against Turkish, leaving me and my brother to look after our country. Some believe that Min will never return from military service, and that the cycle is broken. But I, Maibi, haven't lost hope. I still believe that somehow Min will return to save Asia and Oceania. Thank you, Maibi, for the amazing story.
Very wise words, but it kind of has given like this insight, you know, that, you know, Min was the chance of like showing, like putting Asia on top within like this domestic events, but now, you know, like there's has been like, let's just say, a new challenger in town, as we are a bit of a, you know, since Min is now gone for like basically a year and a bit more due to military service. Due to that, he will not be able to take part. We have only saw 1 Korean player taking part in the event, which was Hardtack, where he did manage to place in the top 12. But we're actually slowly getting ready to start the grand finals. And while we're getting ready as well, I'll give a small introduction to some of the players who will be playing into the grand finals as well. But we first need to have a minor setup for that. So as we actually have everything ready, seems like it at this point. As all players, everything needs to also already, basically everyone's ready just to basically duke it out to take the title home, as the winner of this event will be securing 350 USD in total. So there is quite a bit of, this time we're playing till 3 winners and 120 points in total. So that will be the match, basically the kind of thing that will indicate the match ending this time around. And this will be the final match of the day as well, as it all depends on who will be taking the crown this time around. So the players that we have in this match, both 2 players, Birdie and Semco, were the 2 players who managed to come from the winner's side. So both of them were the 2 looking as favorites, haven't dropped a single match so far. However, you know, there's some other players as well in this match. And one of them is a Gaming Boy from Indonesia, who has managed to climb himself from the lower side, has always been one of the top placements within the AOTC or Asia and Oceania region, has always haven't managed to take the title, but always has managed to squeeze himself into the top 4 of the event. Then the other players that we have within the scene is Kunal. Kunal has made his highest placement also for India in the AOTC so far, as he has managed to taken a place. Also plays on a controller, as Gaming Boy was playing on a keyboard. He does play also in Cam 1, plays Tech and Dirt as their main style. As now we go to the checkout on what is the background of some of the Turkish players. So Semko is definitely one of the more veteran players within the scene. Has been playing a lot of TMUF. He has first time participating in AOTC as well. Has played on a DualShock 4, and also Cam 1 player prefers playing Tech as well. Has also playing for Team Turkey in TSCCs in the future as well. And the last player we have in the grand final is, I think, the most well-known player of the bunch, and it is Birdie. Birdie is the player who has managed to basically, showcase himself within the scene with the most amount of, I just say, basically he showcased talents in that regard regarding his unique personality and as well a bit of skill sets. And even if he said that he will be an AOTC winner, so far it does look like pretty good. And he does play on keyboard camera too, and looks like we're going to be off on our way with our grand final.
Semko and Gaming Boy. And that is the first round. Birdie with 10 points, Kunal with 7, Semko with 5, and Gaming Boy with 3.
So yeah, a bit of a shame. Bit of a shame how it started off. There has been a bit of fiesta also on the technical side, which had a bit of a mispress happening. But yeah, Birdie will be taking the lead so far, as Kunal will take the second place and Semko will be in third place. But Gaming Boy not having the best of openings for this match, as some things happened, or saw the same similar thing in the Comic-Con event as well, but the very first round of the event wasn't the most optimal one. Currently, Birdie does lead the field so far. Semko in solid second place, with Gaming Boy in third place, but seems like a pretty close fight. This map is very, very pushy, as it's relatively simplistic in its nature, but it really relies on trying to squeeze out as much micro time saves as possible. It seems like both Kunal and Gaming Boy with the early mistakes so far. Birdie does leave the field with so far, with Semko falling in second place, and Birdie definitely puts himself into that, let's just say, the player bio description, as he will definitely put himself as a good contender as starting this match. I don't the best of times, a bunch of mistakes definitely popping up that comes out just trying to a bit of a handshakers, bit of pressure coming in as well. But it seems like Birdie is starting to solidify himself as a potential leader of this match.
Yeah, Birdie actually slamming his face right into the edge of the finish ring. So luckily he actually made it in and not missed the finish, because that would be pretty weird. But Birdie definitely leading with 8 points. Currently on the lead is, in the round at least, is Birdie, Semko, Gaming Boy, Kunal, 1, 2, 3, 4 respectively. Seems like Birdie's bobsleigh is really good. Semko with a really inside line going out, but can he keep the speed into the next part? Yes, he can. He has a lot of speed. Kunal following right behind. He's all the way in the back, the slowest one in the pack, but that doesn't matter. He's just gonna wait for a bit of a mistake coming from Semko or Birdie. Now into the sausage part, where a lot of people actually miss the entrance because it's really difficult to do. And now on to the finish, on to the end. This should be 1, 2, 3, 4 solidified. Kunal might be able to snap Gaming Boy, but nope, accidentally hits into the wall. And that will be Birdie in first, Semko in second, Gaming Boy in third, and Kunal in fourth.
Actually, very big gaps.
46.0.
Yeah, very good time coming from Birdie, but also very big gaps that are a bit unusual. I feel like that pressure is definitely starting to come in. We're not seeing that close rounds that even we saw in some of the earlier stages. Like having that a bit additional pressure, a bit of a higher level of opponents as well, definitely starting to make some mistakes happening, as people trying to go for that bit of a ramp jump at the start. Kunal had it completely successfully, has managed to have a small touch, but again, the both Turkish players are going in a pretty solid 1-2 so far. Seems like I think Gaming Boy might be the player who really wants to break his curse of being fourth place in the very end. It seems like Semco and Birdie are still fighting for those top 2 placements, trying to get that plus 10 pointer at the end. Looks like a very nice approach from Birdie for that awkward drift part. Our Semco has a bit better exit speed as comes out on the dirt side, touches the inside, gets overtaken by Gaming Boy in the end as Birdie still leads the field, following by Gaming Boy in 2nd place, and Semco does manage to get the 3rd place in the end, with Kunal then in 4th.
A flawless map for Birdie, taking 40 points in the first map, which is not something you see very often. We saw Seb do it just now on one of the tracks, and now Birdie is the one who's going to get all 4 wins in a row. Just really strong from him. And on to the next map as we start to load in. All the players seems like they're doing pretty well so far.
Yeah, but definitely there has been a bit of a noticeable, like, just say, increase between the Turkish players, both Semco and Birdie definitely having a bit better performance so far. In this match as we're going to Bali. Bali definitely one of those maps that I would say fits the global international meta the most, comparing to rest of the map field. It's actually made by an XTMGL mapper as well, by Firestorm, who has a bit of origins from Indonesia, so all of the maps were made from people who are from the parts of the Asian Oceania community. So Firestorm as well being a bit of a like origin, let's just say descent from Indonesia, has also contributed a map to the map pack. But so far, can you give some stats on what are like the potential placements of their peak times from all of these players on this map?
As for the world record currently right now on the campaign, it is Semco all the way in 1st and Birdie in 2nd, having a 0.03 difference between them. Semco with a 47.3, Birdie as well, and further down the leaderboard we have Kunal with a 47.7, so 0.4 behind the peak pace of both Semco and Birdie. And if we take a look, just right below him at 11th place, we have Gaming Boy with a 0.9, barely scraping in a sub 48.
So all players are definitely being able to do sub 48. But we'll see how many of them will be popping out from this match. We have seen a couple of mistakes popping up from here and there, but I would say this is one more straightforward maps, except the last jump. Which is, let's just say, a bit more perspective-based jump. It does seem like you have a bit more room, but in reality, that little hitbox coming from the left side is a bit closer than you think, as we're going on the first round on Bali so far. No silly mistakes, but does seem like a bit of a minor lead coming from the Turkish players immediately, coming to the dirt side. Both Semco and Birdie currently fighting for the 1-2 positions. Kunal is starting to decrease the lead a bit as well. However, Gaming Boy has fallen down at the bottom of the field. Semco with a bit better approach, no silly adjustments coming from the top players, no also increases coming from as well, as Semco does lead the field currently. Kunal is trying to fight for that 3rd place, solid run coming from all 1, 2, 3 players, as Gaming Boy had an early mistake. Actually, Kunal had way better exit speed comparing to Semco and actually allows Birdie to get that overtake. But seems like Semco still maintains the lead. Birdie really tries to attack for the outside line. It seems like Kunal a bit more to the right side, still managed to maintain it. And Birdie will get that plus 10 in the end with the 47.8. Semco in 2nd with 48 flat, and Kunal with the 48.2 will be in 3rd place.
I would say this track definitely favors more of the Turkish players, whereas the other players need to really move up in terms of pace, because this is not an easy track to drive, especially on a lot of the dirt turns where if you can hold an outer line, it will be really good. And some of the parts of the track requires you to maintain a lot of speed, and even if you have a big amount of speed, it's not easy to control it as the turns are pretty tight. So it's now down to the players how well they drive. Semco doing really well, playing really consistently, but unable to actually maintain a high position, as you know, Birdie absolutely destroyed the previous track, and now we can see Kunal already starting to fall back from the pack. Gaming Boy trying his best to keep up to both the Turkish players. Birdie and Semco having a really tight fight for 1st place. Birdie just a teeny bit ahead, just a 0.05 ahead of Semco, but now the gap is slowly increasing onto the drop down. Gaming Boy not having the most speed. All of them seems to have pretty equal speed other than Semco. Semco is definitely slowly gaining on Birdie. Now onto the last jump. Birdie actually touches the side, and that will allow Semco to have a 1st place, and Birdie will be finishing 2nd. Gaming Boy unfortunately not being able to snipe for the 2nd position. Kunal being last with a 50.3.
Yeah, so it kind of actually breaks now this whole streak that Birdie has obtained throughout the first early rounds, where he had actually, if you didn't pay attention, he managed to win all rounds so far, with the Gaming Boy having a bit of a no-slide at the early start, but it's actually barely enough space to initiate the drift, so we have seen a couple of no-slides coming from the very start. So it's not going to be a clean sweep from Birdie's side, but still a solid position as he clips on the inside. Kunal not having the best of lines as well. A bit of a fiesta around this time around. As Semco has a solid lead. Birdie still with a small mistake is in the second place, trying to chase down Semco. Semco never had a good exit out of coming up this ice to dirt transition ports. However, it seemed like this time, well, he kind of right, still maintaining his leading position, but the gaps seem to be pretty set in stone. Unless there's a major mistake coming out, people get perspective by the line. Birdie was really close on hitting the side right there. And Semco with the 47.5, which is an insanely good time, will be taking the plus 10 pointer in this match.
47.5. If we take a look at the leaderboard, it will be in the 5th position. Being better, just casually having a faster pace than both of Gaming Boys and Kunal's PB. Just a statement being made by Semco that he is in it to win. He's not here to go out second. He's not in it to, you know, just have a bit of prize money. He's here for the first place. He's here to fight, as well as Birdie. So all 4 players really looking to win. And Kunal right now falling behind in terms of points, but in pace, he can keep up to a certain degree. But Semco just pulling out ahead, having a 0.3 lead over Kunal and Birdie. Just really dominant from him on this track, but it's now on to the ice drop down part. It's now Kunal actually having a lot of speed, might be able to overtake here for first place. Semco not having the best of speed on the drop down. Kunal onto the jump part. Does he have enough speed to snipe? And barely Semco makes it out with a 0.07 lead. A flat 48 from Semco, but Gaming Boy definitely not having the best of rounds so far from him. Yeah, Semco just really pushing the gap closer between Birdie and him.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate match happening currently from Gaming Boy's side, as he's starting to get a bit more kind of solidified in that 4th position, trying probably get his first place curse continuing, sadly. But seems like the both 2 Turkish players are really like, I would say a bit tier above everyone else, between Kunal and Gaming Boy, as they're kind of 1v1ing in most of the cases. Just their consistency and peak pace is definitely shining, as they're most of the rounds they were doing around like 0.3, 0.4 from world records. And the round as we're going to be coming on Chicken Steak, this is going to be a massively snowball heavy map. So in this map, there's only one part where it kind of allows to equalize the speed, and it's the drifts right here. Everything else really relies on how much momentum you can keep from this turn. As well, there's going to be ice slide at the very end, where entering it properly can really basically make or break your round, as we saw a bunch of people like Seb, for example, leading a round for most of the cases, not getting that ice turn or ice entry that's properly, and due to that losing the entirety of round. And especially since we're at the last parts of the whole tournament and the potential last times where we see this map being played, that'll be very determination on who gets the plus 10 pointers and plus 7 in the later parts of the round.
And in terms of stats, we can see that Birdie is far ahead of everyone else in 3rd position. Semco being just 0.1 behind Birdie. So once again, both the Turkish players definitely have the faster pace, especially on this track. Further down the leaderboard, we can see Kunal in 14 and Gaming Boy on 17th. Although it's just a 0.5 difference, like you said, just the little bit of better ice slide, a bit of a better bobsleigh, and especially this drift right here would be the biggest part of the track. The rest of the track is pretty straightforward. It's just up to how well you drive these few parts. And Kunal not having the best drop downs, having a bit of an overturn, losing a bit of speed to Semco and Birdie. Gaming Boy as well slowly catching up to him. So now there's a very tight fight for 2nd place, but on to the ice side, which is the most important part of the track. All players seem to be pretty consistent on the ice track, but wait, was that Semco? Semco actually hits the side but maintains the speed, and Gaming Boy manages to snipe Kunal right after the ice part.
Yeah, and a pretty solid rounds as well coming. Kunal also doing a 46-8 and getting last. Quite unfortunate in that case, but it was clearly not enough to even beat, as both Birdie did manage to get a 46-2, which was a quite solid, consistent round pace of him coming from like the upper bracket parts of the event. He managed to get a solid showing, as this time actually Birdie gets an unfortunate touch early on, puts himself at the bottom of the field. He has still a chance to be equal out the speed till the drift turn, but it's going to be kind of hard to catch up that 0.7, especially since we saw that the difference between first and last was that 0.8. So I think it puts him out the bottom of the barrel for this run, unless there's a mistake from the top 3 players, as currently Semco is in a solid lead. Has over a 0.2 difference between the 2 players from Indonesia and India. currently. It all comes down on the ice line. Seems like a nice approach from Kunal's side. Bit of an oversteer, but looks like the setup from Kunal is quite nice. Gets a bit more exit speed. However, the exit line was not the best. He has to a bit oversteer at the very end. He might get sniped at the very end, but it was not enough. And it will be Semco will be getting another 0.2 as the winning time, while Kunal will be second with a 0.7 this time around, which was, you know, allowed that bit more leeway. But at the moment, seems like the both two Turkish players are increasing the points lead between the bottom of the field of the match.
Yeah, a 0.2 is no joke, because a 0.2 in this case is faster than if you get a 0.2, especially for Semco's face, since he can get a consistent 0.2 basically almost every round, same as Birdie. That's actually faster than both Gaming Boy and Kunal's PB, so that's pretty difficult for Kunal and Gaming Boy to try and keep up with these two players. But as I say that now, Semco is now all the way in the back of the pack, trying to chase up. But on the ice slide, he seems to have a really consistent entry, and Gaming Boy going really tight onto the drift, onto the ice slide. We have Birdie all the way in the front, Kunal, Gaming Boy, Semco 2, 3, 4 respectively. Semco looks like he has a really good exit line and speed, manages to snipe Kunal, and just Gaming Boy somehow managed to go from third to second because, yeah, just a bit of a hiccup from there. Another 0.2 from Birdie, holy shit.
Yeah, solid consistency coming from Birdie's side allows him to also increase the lead over his compatriot Semco in second place. Also, Gaming Boy and Kunal starting to get some of those extra second and third places in as well, starting to decrease the points gap between them and that second place as well. They're coming in the last round. Birdie with not the best starts, loses a bunch of momentum for the early rounds of the round, as at the moment Kunal and Gaming Boy currently leading the field with Semco in third place. Kunal with a bit better inside approach. Semco barely managed to use the entirety of round, gets a lot of exit speed out of it coming as well. Bit of a small oversteer coming from the Gaming Boy side, doesn't allow to maintain as much momentum from that turn. Currently, Kunal is leading the field. However, Semco has a bit better dirt line, allows to get the momentum going a bit, but certainly leads the field. All comes down on the ice line. Gaming Boy has a bit better setup. So an oversteer from Semco's side allows to both Gaming Boy actually to go in the leading position, and Kunal most likely will take the second position. Not the fastest rounds comparatively, but it was enough to take the +10 and +7 for them in the end of the round.
I feel like at that rate, Semco was definitely on pace for a sub 46. He was so fast. He was really fast. He was driving the best line. He gained as much speed as he can. He took all the road, all the space given to him, and just used it to the best of his capabilities. And drive pretty good lines as well, managing to maintain the speed. But unfortunately, right at the end, at the ice slide, he just oversteers, tapped the brake a bit too much, and flew out. Now we have twin turbo. If we take a look at the stats, we have Birdie with 45.4, Semco as well with a 45.4, Kunal right behind them with a 45.6. So a 0.2 difference between second and third in this case, and we have Gaming Boy with a 45.8. So Gaming Boy definitely being the underdog going into this round, not having the best times. But so far, he's been doing quite well to keep up with Kunal. So we have to see how these two players eventually play out, because we're still going to see a fight for third, although now we're seeing a fight for first between Birdie and Semco.
So one thing to note on this map, there's like this plastic turn at the and afterwards there's this ice part a bit, and then there's the dirt transition. And what's it weird if it's like that dirt is not enough to fully cancel out the ice properties, so if you are actually fast enough coming out of the plastic part, you'll get a bit of a slide out where you actually need to smooth steer with 20% to keep the grip going. Otherwise, we might see some people slide out. So it's kind of weird way of like a max speed check where you can't be too fast. A lot of the players will try to enter that inside line to just not have, basically have as the optimal exit speed coming for that part. And I feel like that might be one of the key parts at the end of the map, as well as trying to keep the momentum, especially before the freewheel bits as well. So it seems like a small... We see both Turkish players going for the nose slide at the start, while Kunal and Gaming Boy had a bit of a slide happening at the very starts of the map. Puts Kunal at the start, as Gaming Boy has a small bunk as well. Currently Semco and Birdie are currently in the 1-2 positions, managed to maintain the grip, trying to also do a wiggle within the loop to try to keep the grip going. Currently Semco is leading, trying to go for the outside line, trying to maintain the grip as well, a bit more momentum, trying to rack up speed before the bump over the freewheel part, but seems like gonna be quite solid 1, 2, 3, 4 coming into this round, as Semco most likely will be the person who will take the +10 pointer coming into this round, unless so silly bonk happens with a 45-6 on top of that, which
boy.
Is a pretty nice
Oh
time to
boy.
start off on this map.
Yep, that was a really great time from Semco. As well as Birdie having a sub 46. These times are not easy to pull off, especially in rounds when the pressure is really high. But Semco slowly creeping in on Birdie's points. Now the only difference between both of them are 4 points, whereas Gaming Boy and Kunal also on 3 points. So the fight for first and the fight for third is really apparent here. As we can see, Semco once again not having the best of starts. Birdie pulling out ahead. But on the drop down, Semco actually overtakes everyone, but not having a really good entry onto the ice part. Kunal has a bit more speed, just a bit ahead of the rest. Now it's a really close fight for first place. Kunal trying to pull ahead with all the speed that he has. He probably sees a number 1 on his car and really starts to panic, but all 3 of them are literally right next to each other. It's anyone's game at this point. Kunal pulling ahead just by a tiny bit. If we take a look at how they are doing into the loop, all of them still really close. Kunal actually falling a teeny bit back. Semco almost manages to snipe Birdie, but that's a 45.7 from both Semco and Birdie and a 45.8 from Kunal.
Yeah, very solid round for the top 3 players, but Birdie was the player who managed to get that plus 10 pointer in the very end, and now he's only 8 points away, so a round win away from entering finalist. So it really needs to, for other players to definitely needs to get that work in to get those extra points in to start denying him from the entering in that finalist to give that potential on taking the title at the very end as well. Currently a bit of a shaky start coming from Gaming Boy and Kunal so far. Both Turkish players in a quite solid 1-2 so far. Have a very bit of an overslide coming from Gaming Boy's side, trying to reduce that speed to get the grip coming from the upcoming parts. Does lose a bit of speed comparing the top players in the field, but looks like Birdie with a small gear down allows Gaming Boy to catch up. Same with Kunal, and Semco starts to get a bit of a lead due to that. Semco still has a solid lead. Seems like a pretty solidified 1-2-3-4 so far in this round. Quite noticeable gaps, but small bonk from the middle part as Birdie hits the side. Kunal also hits the C finish very close, and it actually, that small bump from Birdie allows both Kunal and Gaming Boy to overtake the time, as Semco as well does another sick time at the very end with the 45-5 to end off this round. And due to that, he actually ties out Birdie in terms of total points.
So now all Birdie and Semco has to do is maintain a top 3 position and not get last. The only way that they can get last is that if one of them makes a huge mistake and the rest capitalize. In this case, Birdie and Semco already pulling ahead, just really strong on the start for both of these players. Kunal not having the best of starts, Gaming Boy for trying to follow right behind them. All 3 players going into the loop pretty strong. Now Birdie slowly trying to keep up a lead, but Semco has just a teeny bit more speed and just trying to catch up to Birdie, having a really nice inside line. Still pretty close, still anyone's game at this point. Birdie and Semco trying to fight for the number 1 position, but as long as they maintain, they will enter finalist mode. Gaming Boy just trying to maintain his 3rd position, trying to get as much points as he can, and now Birdie and Semco both enter finalists, and this will be the fight for first in the next map.
Yeah, it seems like the both Turkish guys having a pretty solid pace every single time, doing like point 45s every single round, and both of the Turkish players are now set in finalists, so both Gaming Boy and Kunal really need to step up their game quite massively now to start potentially denying them. Can you give some updates on the peak times of the players on this map to give some an idea on what kind of pace and who might be the favorites coming out on this map?
As for Eden, we have Birdie once again with the world record, with one of the only sub 41 in this tournament. The other sub 41 is from a Canadian named Zodiac, and Semco with a 41 flat, so almost a sub 41. Further down the row, we have Kunal on 6 with a 41.1, and if we look further down, we try and search for our little boy Gaming Boy, 41.3 on 17.
So yeah, this map is gonna be relatively straightforward, like a very simplistic map in its sense. So due to that, a bunch of like trying to just optimize the lines, trying to reduce that oversteering coming from multiple parts at the start. There is a bit of a wonky start of people trying to get that perfect good outside line to get that gear properly just at the landing at the very start. And I feel like that might be also one of the early make it or break it parts. Also in the middle part after this turn, there's gonna be a freewheel part, and we might see some people also doing a bit of a snap to get a bit of a no slide happening to go over the freewheel part as we're going on the first round on Eden. So it's gonna looks like a double finalist for both of the Turkish players, so this might be potentially the round winning match tournament winning round as Gaming Boy touches early on, gets put birdie. He's currently in leading position. But same with Semco, but the birdie touches out. Semco is currently in a great position. It's all upon and actually now Coolno to deny so far. Semco with a very nice inside line. Doesn't have the best exit speed comparing to Kuno. However, the speed has been equivalent. With the small oversteers, Semco goes with a bit of an airtime. Gets a better approach from the inside line. Has a pretty solidified lead with over 0.3 of a seconds. This might be the round winning time if it's also coming down to the end. And it looks like Semco will be the winner of the Asian Oceania Trackmania Championship. And he'll be taking the first title for Turkey in the event. Kuno was very close, but the 0.3 was not enough this time to win a round. And Semco does take the title for the first time for Turkey, for the first time for Middle East as well within the tournament series, thus denying everyone else from this match. And also that unfortunate mistake from Birdie does really allow the team to take the title in the end.
Semco with a really sick time of 41.0, just absolutely proving that he is the one to take home this tournament. And now it's up to Birdie to follow in his footsteps and not allow Kunal and Gaming Boy to get too close. As long as either one of Kunal and Gaming Boy gets first, Birdie will be denied his finalist for a really long time, and Kunal gets a bit of airtime, and now it's just all up to Gaming Boy and Birdie to fight it out for first. Gaming Boy already starting to fall behind. Now it's just all on Birdie to try and maintain the first place in this round, and that would be Birdie for number 2 in AOTC. Congratulations to both the Turkish players on getting the 1-2 position. Well played from both of you, and now we have the fight for third between Kulno and Gaming Boy, which is still really close with a 1-point gap.
Yeah, now it's the real fight starts for that third place. Congratulations to Birdie to taking down the second place, and for Turkey to take that 1-2 this time around. So we had the previous winners. We had 3 Australians winning for the last time around. Then we had Min from Korea, and this time it's Turkey taking its time on winning the AOTC title. So now we're up on a 1v1 between Gaming Boy and Kuno, who will be decider for that third place. Gaming Boy has been a player who has been a bit of stuck on this 4th place course. And it's also, this will be the highest position for India as well in the AOTC history as well. So it really depends on, both of the players really want to kind of set the bar for the future as well. Either Gaming Boy keeps his 4th place curse, or if India sets new heights now. Because currently in this round, seems like that Kunal will be the one who taking the lead with the 41-4, and it was enough to get that plus 10 pointer and getting that small advantage, especially coming to the finalist rounds for that 3rd place.
We can see a bit of celebration from Kunal as he finally get a 1st place finish in the match so far. That's just how dominant both Semco and Birdie are. Both of them are just players that would absolutely destroy this entire tournament, and that's what they just did. Birdie unfortunately not winning, unlike what he said in his bio, in his player stats, but overall 2nd place is really respectable, and Semco as well went out with a bang, having a 41 flat on this track. And now if we take a look at the match, both Gaming Boy and Kunal are neck and neck into this round. Gaming Boy having a really nice line, not getting any airtime, having a really nice drift, keeping a bit more speed compared to Kunal into the 3rd part, trying to go down into the end. Does he have enough speed and the line to snipe Kunal? I don't think so. That's just Kunal nabbing away another 1st spot finish. And Kunal is now really close to finalists.
Yeah, Kunal starting to close in, just a couple of rounds went in, but also Gaming Boy is really close. So it all depends on who gets those extra 10 pointers in to give that, that round advantage when the pressure will come. It looks like we're gonna be going into Synergy. Synergy really loves to be the decider map, seems like it, to end off certain parts of the matches. As like most of the couple of matches actually did end on Synergy. It's by having a shuffle the map order. So this time it will also be the decider map on who will be coming at the end parts. Actually, both of these players managed to decide their slot in the grand final exactly on this map as well. It's now gonna be kind of crazy that both of them will be deciding the 3rd place of AOTC on this map as well. So currently in terms of points, Kunal is in a small advantage, only being 12 points off the finalist barrier, while at Gaming Boy is 17. So definitely if Gaming Boy gets those 2 second places in, it will still, put him in that disadvantageous position. However, we saw that Gaming Boy was actually the first person to finish off finalist in the lower bracket final. So in that case, he has a bit of a small advantage, but this match is still not over yet. It can go either way. Of course, it would be quite nice for India to set a top 3 for the first time in AOTC. Of course, it will be also nice for Gaming Boy to end off his 4th place curse as well. So we'll see how this end up on this map.
Yep, and in terms of stats, Kunal is just 0.3 ahead of Gaming Boy, and like you said, Gaming Boy has a teeny bit of an advantage. If you remember correctly, there was a quadruple finalist to decide who entered this match, and now it's just a repeat. Now it's whether who's gonna take home third and fourth. So Gaming Boy trying to break his curse, Kunal trying to set new heights. Both of these players are representing themselves and their country in AOTC. Gaming Boy already falling behind on the start, but having a really good dirt turn, just having a teeny more exit speed, having to release or not he would have flied into the wall. Kunal now maintaining a lot more speed. Gaming Boy actually hits onto the side of the wall. Kunal just slowly running away with the third place position. But no, he actually hits the side, and now
Gaming Boy
Gaming Boy also no, both players. The pressure is way too high for these two players. But Gaming Boy has just a teeny bit more speed, goes on the wider outside line, manages to overtake Kunal onto the drift pipe, onto the end. Gaming Boy actually managed to nab just a bit more points than Kunal in this round.
Yeah, and actually Gaming Boy gets the +10 in the end. What a fiesta of a round. Both players crashed out, then respawned, kind of gave up, but then kept going, and it was still enough for Gaming Boy to have a bit more momentum going to get that, lead. But it does seem like that we'll have a bit of an empty round, as both players just need to finish off this round, but it kind of will give that mental advantage when that's going to be coming on the double finalist in the upcoming round, as Kunal does have a bit of a mistake early on, so
It's just a mental reset.
Yeah, I think it will allow Gaming Boy that give that mental confidence coming in that double finals round for that third place decider round. So we'll have an interesting double finalist to witness for that third place. So it's gonna be a bit of pressure for both of these players. We have seen that the bit of an awkward line starting to, bit of an outside inside approaches, bit of unusual lines are starting to pop out here and there, especially when the pressure comes. And now it's gonna be the last round of the whole event upcoming, so it's gonna be really incentivizing for both of them just to keep that pressure strong and to see who comes out on top and secures the third place in the end.
Right now we're into the final round of AOTC. Hopefully you guys have at home watching right now have enjoyed it so far, but this will be the deciding race, whether Gaming Boy would break his curse and enter a podium finish, or will Kunal from India take third place. And I think Gaming Boy already leading by 0.4. Kunal hitting the side, not having the best entry, missing the ramp, and this should be Gaming Boy's match as long as he doesn't mess up. He probably sees the number 1 on his car. The pressure is onto the drift part. Gaming Boy just playing it really safe right now. He knows he has a big lead against Kunal. He knows that Kunal made a mistake. It's now just all up to Gaming Boy to finish it off and not make a teeny mistake. This should be it. This is the final round of AOTC, but Kunal actually is coming back with a lot of speed. Might be able to overtake Gaming Boy on the final turn, but unfortunately hits the side, and this should be Gaming Boy's to win. Congratulations to Gaming Boy on achieving third place in AOTC, and Kunal fourth. Well played to all these players. Congratulations. This is the final round for AOTC, and this is how it will end. Gaming Boy, winner, third place.
Yeah, and congratulations to Semco on winning Asian Oceania Trackmania Championship, and Birdie securing second place, Gaming Boy in third, and then Kunal securing the highest position for India so far in the AOTC history as well, and by securing that fourth place that hasn't been really done previously quite often. Previously, best placements for India was a top 8 finish that was set during the last AOTC. So those will be the final standings of the upcoming. So if we go to the quick winners screen, so the winners of the AOTC will be Semco taking the first place from Turkey, Birdie in second, also from Turkey, Gaming Boy third place from Indonesia, and Kunal will be in fourth place. Securing also a bit of prize money, so all of 4 players will get a bit of prize money on top of that, which will be, I believe, the second highest prize money event within this region. So those will be the top 4 placements at the very end. We had a very interesting event happening, very interesting storylines also popped up. For example, Australia not having the best of performance, definitely having their worst performance overall in the AOTC history. But now that we have a new region who's starting to come out on top, I mean, these events definitely kind of gives a bit more interesting perspective and a bit of like this three-way region fight between Middle East, mainland Asia, and Oceania between the AOTC competitions.
Yeah, I would say that this finals match was really fun to watch, especially the fight between the two Turkish players, Semko and Birdie. Both players really just duke it out, and in the end, it's just Semko having a teeny bit of a lead and just ending it off with really strong times. Birdie wasn't able to catch up, and in the end, it was a 1-2 for Turkish. Well done to them. An entire region rising upon the entirety of the Asia Oceania Trackmania Championship, just like Law says. The message I received from our fellow Maibi, the letter, it was true. Turkish has now won the war. We shall meet them again very soon. Well played to all the Turkish players. Well played to everyone who joined. It was a pleasure being here casting with you, SRK. Thanks for bringing me along.
Yeah, thank you for coming as well, giving a bit of in perspective also from within the Asia scene as well for the event. Also giving a bit of also a first-time experience as well for Trackmania as well. Hope everyone actually enjoyed some of the matches. There was a bit of fiesta sometimes happening, but it also gave a very interesting storyline and get a bit of an in view of this region as well. So once again, congratulations to Semko on winning the AOTC Spring 2022. And this very evening we'll still have some events happening with the South America Cup still continuing on this day, where we decide the very first South America regional tournament winner this evening in around actually 10 or so hours. That will be done by other staff. That will be from our side. We'll broadcast it on the same channel, on the Trackmania Esports Twitch channel, and on the FastPoint YouTube channel. We'll be able to watch it live as well. So yeah, once congratulations. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all also for the lurkers, everyone who followed, played also in the event. Definitely, if you want to stay tuned for other upcoming also regional events and events in general, definitely stay tuned and join the FastPoint Discord, as Trackmania Seasonal Series did manage to rebrand to FastPoint. So if you see that name, that's like the previous ecosystem. So yeah, once again, thank you all for everyone. Shoutouts to also for the Indonesian cast, well, with Resir and Vlayathan, who provided that as well. Also with the French cast that was done by Gigig. And also thank you, Seawall, for joining me in this adventure here as well for the AOTC broadcast as well. Also shoutouts to people from the staff as well, Resir, Iridium also, who helped out managing stuff, also Nacho as well, who did adjustments here and there with the maps and everything like that. Also shoutouts to all the mappers and everyone who take part and follow this event as well. So definitely stay tuned for more upcoming events. Join in the FastPoint Discord. Also, if you're from Asia and Oceania region, definitely check out their local Discord. We really like to see new faces coming here there as well. But yeah, that's gonna be it for us. Thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for the South America Cup that will be happening this evening if you're from Europe. If it's gonna be in around 10 or so hours. So definitely stay tuned for that. Thank you all for watching, and see you all later. Bye bye.
See y'all. Goodbye. Yeah.